Well, good morning, my Teacher King family. How's everybody doing today? I am fine. I really enjoyed that video yesterday, problem solving. I thought I would get more views, but I'll wait a few days. Anyway, so I've been watching a lot of like World Series of poker and stuff like that. So let's take a look at our gold. And 83.05, it's been up to 84 today. And gold 50.55. So gold did get up to 51.0, like 51.10. Didn't last long. Got an 8 o'clock hit. Got the 10 o'clock. Actually went up and then down. So gold just stuck right around. I thought it was breaking out at 5,100 today, but it's still in this range, which is okay. And silver got to 84. I don't know. Again, there's no ranges. Uh, this is just simply Comex at its finest, the bullshit, the options. It's just all bullshit. It's a shame too because it's it's not real as we know. I have a good Egon video for us today that'll help us. A lot of these videos, the AIs, just stay away from. I'm getting phone calls where it's AI, where nobody answers, and then you hear the beep, and then somebody comes on and they know my name. Hey, Howard, how you doing? I'm like, whoever the fuck this is, I'm hanging up on you and blocking you. Like I said, I had one guy call that he said he was from Member Services. Didn't say I'm from Chase or Comerica or Wells Fargo. He just said I'm from Member Services, and it was a Ponzi scheme. So I hung up. Hey, John C. So I basically, uh, I don't even want to answer the phone unless it says Alyssa or Scott or one of my friends or something that I actually know what it is. Most important, agencies are going to email you or send you a letter. They're not going to call you. The IRS will never call you, or the state of Michigan, or half the places. A lot of scammers around, TK. Well, it's the whole AI thing is a big scam. And the quicker you realize that AI is a scam, the better off you'll be. I don't know anybody who wants AI. There's no benefit. The companies are going to go to AI to lay off employees. Well, you know what happens if everybody goes AI? There won't be an economy because there won't be anybody. This is Say's law, right? You make money to spend it, right? It's a trade. I'm going to give you money and you spend it. Well, what happens if it's all AI? You're not giving money to anybody, right? The computers have it. It's Terminator 2. So you're not giving any money. You're saving money. On the same token, then how does anybody buy your goods and services when nobody has, when you're not even dealing with people, you're dealing with computers? This is the part they don't get. It's the same thing like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's just it's a Ponzi scheme. It has no value. I was listening to that guy Sailor last night, He's a moron. I was listening to Ray Dalio. I'm going to cremate that guy today. So I have a few nice videos that'll I'll really crush these guys. Again, showing that they're idiots. Basically, they're just scammers. The whole thing's a scam. That's the beauty of gold and silver. You cannot scam this, right? I can scam this and I can scam that by printing it and making it worthless. And if I'm one of the printers, I can make this I can print billions and billions of these and kill the value, but in the meantime, I'll keep it. So I'll print $1 billion to myself and I can go spend it before it goes to zero. That's what they mean by transfer wealth. And then the people who get it later, it's already been devalued. So when they say that about inflation, it's the rich bankers printing it, taking the money before the money's been devalued. Then they print so much of it that the money gets devalued and it becomes worthless. And at that point, we get it, right? So we get the money filtered down and all the prices have gone up. So that's what they mean by, like they help the rich. It doesn't help the rich just for momentarily if they spend it right away. But if they hold it, it doesn't. Warren Buffett, who has all this money, no, he lost because it's not worth anything. John C., some phone companies are selling your name to advertisers to cause. How can they get your number? Yeah, no, well, it's not just the phone companies, it's Facebook. It's a lot of these other websites that are selling your phone number. But I don't care. I keep getting a call from Hanson's about, a new shower or wood, you want this, you want a new toilet, you want a new kitchen. I keep getting these calls. But the funny part is, it's from a house that I lived in 10 years ago. I don't live there anymore. Oh, yeah, this one property in Southfield that, you own. I never owned it and I haven't been there in 10 years. Here's another scam that I'm not going to waste time. I like calling them and then blocking them. So watch, I will call them back. So I'm going to call them and then I'm going to hang up.
The number you dialed has been changed, disconnected, or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
See, it's not even a real number. So it's a scam, but so you get these weird numbers and they call you and it's a total, when you call them back and they say, oh, the number's disconnected or not working. Well, that was a scam in the first place. So there's a lot of people that are just wasting their time. But I don't know what they want from me. Okay, I'll buy that because somebody's calling me that I have no idea who it is because I didn't call them. The best way to do it is to say, I'm really busy now, and then call them back. And most of them will have that recording. Oh, this number's not in service. You can't connect. It's a Ponzi scheme or a scam. If they do take it, then at least you dialed it. Like if I get a call from a bank, I'm going to hang up 100% of the time and then call them back. Like if I know I'm calling Wells Fargo, I'm going to call Wells Fargo. I'm the one who's calling on an 800 number. And I know, yes, I'm calling Wells Fargo. But if somebody says we're Wells Fargo or PayPal or any of those, you just hang up on them and block them. They're not real. They wouldn't call you. Never. Yeah, TK, you ever buy antiques? Well, I buy baseball cards. I guess that's antique. What's your point, John C.? What kind of antique? What was the question? Do I buy old baseball cards? That's that. Not a lot. I'm going to buy things I know of. I'm going to buy gold and silver ahead of anything. I got the Canadian club I bought when I worked there in 1997. Anyway, so we have We have a lot of scam. Anyway, you see gold and silver, and again, they're kind of manipulating the price, which I don't understand how they get away with it, except for they are the government. So basically, the rule setter is the one fixing the Ponzi scheme on gold and silver and the options market on COMEX. That's it. Now, in our corner is Russia and China and BRICS, who are buying it, who are going to buy everything they try to fuck around and drop. And so then it becomes having Putin on your side feels a whole lot better than fighting against him, right? So we fight against JP Morgan, but we have Putin. So yeah, we understand it's paper, it's a game. We understand it's worth a lot more. So we again have to figure all that out. Like I said yesterday in the problem solving video, um, you're looking at things and problem solving. You're problem solving the Titanic. Well, let's see. We hit a iceberg in the water. Well, okay, the problem is the iceberg. The water is coming in. The ship's going to sink, and then we go to a solution. And that's kind of what I'm talking about: is figuring out the problem and solving it. And I do it with football, and I do it with women, and I do it with gold and silver. I remember that's the question. Why is gold sitting at 1800? Why isn't it moving? And then you discover it's price fixed. It's JP Morgan. They're shorting it there. But then I understood when they changed the rules, which was to come in with um, the rules changed when BRICS came in. And I remember talking to the guy who owns the barbecue restaurant. Well, what's different this time? Well, why would it go up now? It's never gone up. And the answer was BRICS. BRICS is buying it. And that's why I keep arguing with Alligator and these guys where it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. And I said, yes, it is gold going up. Because before, in the whole 2010, 2020, gold never went up. It would be 16, 17, 1800, and that was it. That was because BRICS wasn't there. And then when BRICS came in and started buying it, now there was demand pushing the price up. The dollar was worthless back then. The dollar's been worthless since 1972. If you want to use that argument, Alligator, it's a pretty stupid argument. Because it's not, the dollar hasn't had value since 1971 or 72, right? So it's not like the dollar is just losing value now and, oh, look at gold go up now because the dollar is dropping. The dollar's been dropping since 1970. What are you talking about? So again, this is all because, why is it going up now? Why did it just go up from 83 silver go from $83 to 83.25? Why did it just go up 25 cents? Are you saying the dollar lost value in the 5 minutes we've been talking? I don't think so. So that's the point. The gold and the silver value is going up. And that's the key. Oh, God. I need to just turn off the phone. I mean, this is just ridiculous. So anyway, again, understand the problem and then you can solve it. It's as simple as that. So with gold being limited, it should never go down in price as long as the demand's there. Any item with no demand will drop to zero. And the dollar is printed so much that the demand, people will realize it's worthless, which will hurt the demand. Right now, there's more demand for gold. So all the central banks, China, Russia, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, they're all getting out of dollars and buying gold. And nobody ever touches the real reason. It's because the dollar's not worth anything. Some people will say, well, it's the sanctions. Look how we sanction Russia. So nobody wants to hold dollars because they could get sanctioned. No, nobody wants to hold dollars because they realize they are heavily inflated and worth nothing. They see what's going on. We can't sell treasuries. We keep printing, and we have a $39 trillion debt. Do you really think the dollar has a value? So people get out of the dollar because it's worthless. I mean, that's the real reason, but nobody wants to say it. It's ridiculous. Um, so anyway, we'll get into me again doing my football. I know people are kind of curious about it. And then obviously now we're talking gold and silver. So the problem is the dollar, which leads you to the gold and silver. And so you understand that. And that's why you don't sell it. It's not like a stock where you're going to profit take. This is a different animal, gold and silver, not one you profit take because you're key to it. Yeah, like you've been doing this stuff a long time. Uh, Economics 1995, football 1970. Problem solving probably 1970 also. When I would pick a football game, I would always analyze it. I would always wonder, who to. I'd always come up and figure out who to bet, and a lot of times it was good versus bad. Right? Here's the good team, and the good team changes every year. And here's the bad team, and the bad team changes every year. Once in a while, you get the Jets who suck every year, and once in a while, you had, uh, Pittsburgh where they won for 10 years, or Oakland and Dallas a little bit. Um, but then they changed, and then all of a sudden, Dallas sucks. Dallas sucked right after they lost the 81 championship game, to Philadelphia. They lost to the Niners. And I think they lost to Philly first, then they lost to the Niners the next year. And then I think they lost to Washington after that in 72. And then that was it. They were gone. And they went here. And the reason is good players and bad players. I mean, it's as simple as if you have Lawrence Taylor, you're going to win. If you can get a player like that, that's why I'm like saying I would draft Ruben Bain, the guy from Miami, with the number one pick. He's the number one player. He's going to make you into a New York Giants if you're smart enough to play defense and run the ball and play to your strength. And that's what you got to do. So you got to have a smart enough coach. But that's how you look at. I mean, that's how you problem solve. How do you solve this problem? How do you know who to bet? And it usually goes to whoever has the best players. The best players are the best players because they win. I'm watching this World Series of Poker champions or something. All the superstars are there. Johnny Chan and Doyle and all these guys. And they're the best. And you're watching them. Real quick, the tell is when they play the hand is the tell, because when they get nothing, they just fold. Well, they're not really bluffing. Oh, I got 6-8, I'm folding, right? But when they get a hand, they make a bet. So it's kind of a tell right off the bat. Oh, he's folding. He doesn't have anything. So when he has nothing, he folds. So therefore, he has a hand. He's playing. Anyway, so football, you're looking at, you need reasons to bet. I mean, this is the same thesis for everything. I need reasons to get out of the dollar and get into gold and silver. What are they? I need reasons for women. Why do I like them? How do you evaluate to spend time or not to spend time with? Poker, reasons to get in and out. And so it's always, you're looking for the key, right? How do I do well in it? How do I figure it out? How do I problem solve whatever I'm looking at? And that's really the key. And poker's the hardest because you really don't know the other person's two cards. Gold and silver's easy because you have to understand the dollar's worthless. And that's the hard part. But once you understand Austrian economics and inflation and money printing, which is not hard to understand, you print too much of something and the value goes down. Once you understand that, then gold and silver is easy to buy and not to profit take, because you're not trying to make money and then sell it and get more money, right? So I don't want to spend 20 grand on gold and silver and it goes up 10 grand. Now I got 30 and I sell it and make 10 grand, but now I'm back in this. I don't want to get back into this. This is worthless. And that's really the key. This is worthless. This is not what I want to get into. So that's the whole point. That's why gold and silver are a little different, because the dollar's gone, and I don't want to get back into it. Girls the same thing. You meet a girl, you like her. Does she like you? How does the chemistry? Is she smart? You have a conversation. Uh, and then, but if it isn't, and she's pretty, but her personality's not that good, you just cut it off and off you go. You don't waste time with her. You just move on. Sort of like the dollar, you just move on. Football, same thing. You don't like to bet, and you just say, I'm not betting this team. I'm not betting New Orleans. I'm not betting, you know, uh, Cleveland. You get the bad teams, but you bet against them, but you don't bet them. So you're always looking for reasons. You're always problem solving. You're always looking, what do I want? What don't I want? And that's really the key to it. So I want to make sure I'm hitting my title, which I don't remember what my title is. What's my title? My handicapping thesis, poker, gold and silver. Okay. So I got to talk about my football. I'm talking poker and gold and silver. Okay. So again, so if we talk gold and silver, which we've talked a lot on, we understand the economy and the market and Austrian economics and Adam Smith. And then we get to, are they printing it to death? I mean, that's the key. Is the value of the dollar? It always goes down because it's not backed by anything. So the first lesson is the dollar backed by gold or silver? And if it isn't, they're going to keep printing it, and they're going to print and print and print because the banks are in charge, and the banks have no idea what they're doing. And then if there's nothing backing it and they're going to keep printing it, it's going to go to zero. It's going to be worthless. And again, you don't really keep score of it. There's no scorecard of the dollar's value. It says 20 on it. It says 100 on it. It says 5 on it. You have no idea what that buys. That's really the key to it. And that's really what you immediately understand is there's no score. They're going to keep printing it. And now you can see, well, we get in X and we spend X plus. So we're spending more money than we're taking in, and therefore we have to print. So you keep hearing we print, you keep hearing we buy our own treasuries. The treasuries are because we don't have enough money. We got to pay all the employees and the government and the interest on the debt. So you have reasons why they're printing. But the more they print, the value drops. So it's a very simple, there's the problem, and then very simple to solve is gold and silver. Now people will run you around. You talk to a financial advisor at Attack on Wall Street guy, he's going to put you in a real estate trust, or he's going to put you in Amazon stock, or this Michael Saylor will put you in Bitcoin, all keeping you away from the real answer. The real lifeboat is gold and silver. That's where you've got to focus. That's the problem, right? So you might know the dollar's not good. I want to be in stocks or Bitcoin or whatever. And you don't get into gold and silver. And that's the problem. If you are talked away from it by your financial planner, financial advisor, stockbroker, whoever you use, will not put you into the right lifeboat, because they don't make commission if you're in gold and silver. So we know the problem. We've identified the problem. It's solving the problem that gets confusing. Yeah, the dollar's going out. It's not worth anything. So you need to get into stocks, which are going to collapse because the economy's terrible because you have a $39 trillion debt. And so, oh, get into a real estate trust like Attack on Wall Street guy. He lost 60 grand. Well, that's gambling. And then the Bitcoin, here comes Bitcoin. Well, that's not worth anything. When the dollar collapses, Bitcoin has no value. So you really want to look ahead when the dollar collapses, which is what's going to happen. It always does. You want to be in something that has value, and gold and silver will have its own value because it's money. And so that's the kind of the key as you get out of the dollar, where to go, gold and silver, because they can't print it and it's money and it has its own value. It doesn't need the dollar to value it. Gold will be worth gold. Gold will buy you a nice house. Gold will buy you a nice car. Bitcoin, doesn't have any value. Nobody will take it. And real estate trusts, stocks, now they're all valued in dollars. And when the dollar goes out, they'll be worthless. So the only thing that will withhold the dollar going out is gold and silver. So that's solving the problem. We know the problem is the dollar's worthless, even though we don't really get told that. Oh, inflation's 2%. They do everything to not say the dollar's worthless. They don't price it. It's $100. So you think it's still $100, which is probably worth $2 right now. Again, you go to the grocery store, you can easily get to $100 at the checkout without even half filling your cart. I mean, everything's $4 or $5. So that's really your problem. So it's solving the problem is the hard part, right? It's gold and silver is the problem solver, but people will still steer you into Bitcoin and real estate trusts and the stock market. And none of them is the answer. They lead you to still being in the dollar. So you want to get out of the dollar, and all these things keep you in the dollar because they're all priced in dollars. The only thing not is gold and silver. And yeah, you can collect baseball cards, but it's still going to go to zero in paper. It'll just get priced in gold, but you're better off having gold and silver. So that's problem solving the dollar. It's not that it's not that we can't figure out the problem, although some people will look at inflation at 2%. But it's when they talk about, okay, yeah, the dollar's in trouble. Where do I put my money? And Ray Dalio doesn't have a clue. And Warren Buffett doesn't have a clue. Gold and silver is the only answer, yet they don't give it. Oh, I'm in stocks. I'm in cash. I'm in treasuries. I'm in Bitcoin. But they're not in the most important lifeboat, gold and silver. And that's the problem. All right. So that's gold and silver. Football we'll get to. And then and women's the same thing. What's the problem? Finding a woman that you like, that you want to spend time with, who is not going to lie to you, who's not after your money, who will have fun with and you can play with and enjoy. And finding that's extremely difficult. Sometimes the pretty ones won't do all that. They'll lie to you. They want your money. Sometimes you have to get the less attractive one to do everything else, who's happy to have you. And so you have to really battle. You want pretty, and then, a 10, a 9, an 8, but then, what's the rest of the package come with? So you go through your little shot. Is she just with me for the money? No. Is she, will she play with me? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And she's good in bed. Oh, okay. That's good. Does she mind that I gamble and I bet football and I play poker? Oh no, she's okay. And then what does she do? Is she some of these drug addicts that doesn't know what day it is or not? Do you have similar interests? You don't need 100% interest. You do want your time away, but so all that. So you weigh all that, and you ask yourself, well, what do I want? What am I looking for? And then that's the problem. And then solving it, you just have to approach many women and find ones that are what you're looking for. And you've got to be brave enough to say what's on your mind. This is what I like. I play poker. I bet football. I'm not into drugs, and I like this, that, and the other. And see how she is, but not what she says, but what she does. And that's the key. Are you okay together watching TV, or is she going to watch the football game with you or not? She doesn't have to. And then is she, drugged all the time? So is she just wants your money? I need money. I need money, and that's it. So again, that's what you're trying to find out: the compatibility, the chemistry. Do you want to spend every day with her, and you can see spending years with her, or is it, oh, I can only take so much of her? I can only see her like twice a week or 3 times a week. That's all I can take of her because her personality or her habits or whatever. And does she do what you want? And it's hard because then they're looking at the same thing. Do you do it? Now, mostly girls want safety and security, and mostly girls are going to want a guy who can take care of them. So that's why it seems to lead to money, because girls want to be taken care of. Girls, it's just their nature. They're the weaker sex, so they don't go out and necessarily and make all this money and run a division or manage people or anything like that. They're more kind of shy, and they go into work, and they make some money, but they want the man to take care of them. So right off the bat, there's a difference. We don't want the woman to take care of us. We'll take care of the woman, but we can't have the woman say, "Give me all your money and take care of me." That doesn't work. So you need a woman who kind of understands and gets some money, and you get her gifts, and she can kind of take care of herself. And you give her gifts, but it's not, oh, I need money for this and that, and buy me this, buy me a car, buy me a house. It doesn't really work. And they think they do. Well, I'm beautiful, so therefore buy me this and buy me that because I'm beautiful. And you're like, so what? I don't care about that. That's a small portion of it. So again, to solve the problem, you have to know what you're looking for, and then you have to be able to explain it, and then kind of judge, is she what I what she says she is, and then see how her point of view is. Are you what she's looking for? Like I say, some just want money and be taken care of and have a lot of money, and that's what they're looking for. And some might be looking for drugs, and some might be looking for brains. And oh, I don't like that you gamble, or you got to choose, or that's all bullshit. It should be seamless. It should be very nice. She's attractive enough. She could be a 7, but that's okay. She does everything else, and she's nice. And I think the biggest thing is they're nice to you, they love you, they respect you, and you can trust them. There's the trust issue, right? If she says she's going to do it, I always tell Daria, I say I'm going to help her, and then I'll always say, "See, I told you I would help you, and I did." And then they trust you, and they have confidence that if he said no, I might not always say yes and no to certain things. And therefore, but I'm still being honest with her. Like, you can still trust me, but I didn't say I can do X, Y, and Z. Excuse me. So you try to understand the girl's habits and likes and needs, and the best way is to let her do it. Is to not say you can't, like quit smoking. You can't tell anybody to quit smoking. They will not like you. So you've got to let it go. Okay, well, if you want to smoke, smoke. And if you want to drink, drink. And whatever it is, If you want to do it, it's okay. I'll help you if you want to quit, but that's your life. So do what you want in your life. Just let me do what I want in my life. And if you get that, then that's a good thing. So again, you're trying to problem solve it. And that's really the key to it. Right. So if you have a girl, do you want a second girl? Maybe there's somebody better out there. Maybe she's okay, but that's not what you're looking for. So I always say date two or three girls in the beginning, and then you're not dependent on one, and you're seeing they have different attributes. And then, okay, yeah, I really want, A, B, and C. I really like B. A and C are nice, but B's better for me. And then maybe you settle down with B. Maybe she gives you what you want and she allows you to do what you want. And you allow her to do what she wants, and everybody's fine. Um, I know I get that. And I want to be with you because you'll let me be free. You'll let me do what I want to do. And that, so I'm the right guy for this girl. And but most people, I let them do what they want. Who am I to tell you you can't do it? John C. Dallas. You can win with average quarterbacks like a Darnold. You got to have a great defense. I can't go out with a girl who was on drugs or alcoholic. Okay, so let's look at John C. there. Well, let's read the rest. TK, you're going to do basketball. TK, you didn't go. Sounds good, TK. You're doing awesome. Okay, great. So here's John C. I can't go with a girl who is on drugs or an alcoholic. Now, I can, if she says I do drugs, I'm not going to stop her from doing drugs. Now, if you don't like, now if she asks me for money for the drugs, then I draw the line and say, you want to do them, you got to pay for them. I'm not going to pay for your drug habit or your alcohol habit. You've got to see, again, it's how bad is it? Are you going to find a lot of girls who don't either do drugs or alcohol? I think most of them smoke weed or drink. I think you're going to have a very hard time finding it. It's just, do they have one drink or not? Now, Daria told me she's an alcoholic, but she's on Alcoholic Anonymous and hasn't drunk in 4 years. So I like that she's honest with me and she tells me this, and I say, that's great. And I'm proud of you for, telling me that and not doing it. But she's an alcoholic, but she doesn't drink. But I wouldn't stop her from drinking. But it depends how they treat you when they're on alcohol or drugs. Are they just real bitches? Are they, what is their personality like on that? Because you don't want them to come back and say, well, you can't play poker either. Well, I play poker. I do drugs. It's basically chocolate. My drug is like chocolate or caffeine, right? It's having a diet Coke or having ice cream or something, chocolate. So that is my drug, is caffeine. Now it's a different type of drug, but it's every bit as powerful as these other drugs. But it doesn't really change my personality, and I pay for it on my own. And so, there are certain drugs that are like caffeine that are hidden. Even when I get coffee, I get decaf. I try to stay away from caffeine because I think it bothers me. But you want the girl to be free with you. But now it depends what they are. I mean, like weed, I don't think that affects you differently. If it's a hard drug, that's different, and you don't want them to get hurt. Carmen used to smoke. It didn't bother me, but then she got sick and she needed an operation. Now she don't smoke anymore. And I told her, I don't like to see you smoke. It's not healthy for you. That's why I care if it's a health issue. You smoke, it's not healthy. And then you need the operation. And then you're worried about it. So it depends what it is. Now, even you have a lot of caffeine in chocolate, that you're going to get that's very bad for you also. You might need an operation. You might have high blood pressure or something. So it's, put it in your shoes. If you have caffeine and somebody says, oh, I don't want you to drink Coke or have chocolate, how would you look at him? You'd be like, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want. And that's really the problem. It's not that. It's you don't want them telling you you can't do it, so you don't want to tell them they can't do it because you know how they're going to respond. So what you say is, if you want to get off, stop. If you want to stop smoking cigarettes, I'll help you. I don't smoke and I really don't drink. My thing is, like I said, it's caffeine or chocolate, and that's the difference, right? But you're there with it's their life. You join their life. This is what my life's about. I do drugs or alcohol, but you say that right up front, and then it's up to the girl how much she likes you. If she says, "Okay, I won't drink, and I won't do like Daria. I'm in Alcoholics Anonymous, so I won't drink, and and she doesn't do drugs. So with Daria, then that's fine. She does drink, but she's doing it now. She's not stopping for me, but she said she hasn't had a drink in 4 years. So I don't know if it was me or not, but I've known her like since the last Olympics. We really were talking a lot. Um, so she's told me some of the things she does, and I'm fine with it. I go, that's okay. You can do X and Y, and I'll support you. Not financially, but psychology wise. If you have problems, don't like she's definitely afraid of going to the dentist and the doctor. She's just scared of going. So I said, well, I'll go with you. And that, that's fine. But what am I supposed to do? She's got to go to the dentist. But she's scared of that. Some people are just afraid of that. Well, okay. So she tells me that, and then I support that. I'll go with you. I'll hold your hand, and you go to the dentist. That's fine. I'll comfort you, and that's fine. That's a lot. That's part of the relationship. So if you do that, then that's fine. Now, some people aren't scared of the dentist. I'm not scared of the dentist or the doctor, although I don't go to the doctor very often because I go out to our Dr. Sven online with a lady, and I get all put an onion on your foot to get rid of your cold. I heard some guy in the locker room say, I got this hacking cold, the bronchitis or whatever. I can't get rid of it. I walked up to him and said, put an onion on your foot. So I'm waiting to hear if that healed him, but I know it will because I know it's done it for me. It did it for Daria and a few other people. They put the onion on their foot and they were better, and it helps. So, uh, you know, the doctors I really don't like, they don't really help you. They just try to put you on drugs and make money from the pharmacist. Anyway, it's not good for your health, is all. Yeah, they can change your personality. Yeah, it's not for your health, is all. Yeah, well, it's not for your health, but if they want to do it, uh, again, it's up to them to stop. It's up for them to realize it's bad for your health and stop it. And they might use you to help them. Hey, can you help me stop smoking or drugs or alcohol? And it changes their personality. Okay, makes them a little braver if they drink, but how does it affect, or can you still be with them and talk to them if they're drunk? Do they get drunk or do they have a few drinks? A lot of people drink. All right. And they say, and how are they when they drink and that, and are they okay that you don't drink or drugs? How does it change their personality? Maybe it's better. Maybe they open up. Maybe they're shy. Some girls want me to drink to open up, and I don't drink. I'm not gonna. I said I can't take the sugar. I'm not gonna do it. My dad died of diabetes. I'm not gonna. There's a ton of sugar and alcohol, so I don't really. I'll have champagne once in a while. If you see my thumbnails that I put on my videos, there's one with the two glasses, and that's me and Jenna in the Ukraine, and that's about the extent of me drinking. I drink that glass, or there's like champagne, New Year's Eve or something. So I will drink then a little bit, but not a lot, not 5 glasses full. But yeah, it does change your personality. Maybe it's better, maybe it's worse. I don't know. Uh, but as long as they're open about it, hey, I do drugs, and you go, well, okay, just be patient. Or I drank, okay, and you see how they are drunk, and then if they really love you and care for you, they'll cut back on it a little bit because they probably are drinking because they're alone. They don't have anybody else. And so they start drinking and doing drugs because they are alone or they have problems. I would think most people who do drugs and alcohol have problems. And so now they have you, and that probably kills a lot of their problems. Oh, I got Howard. Oh, that's good. I don't need to drink and I don't need to do the drugs. Now, sometimes they're recreational, but it depends what the real needs are. They don't just want to get drunk to get drunk. They want to get drunk to forget something or there's problems. So if you solve their problems by being there, then they don't have the need to do it. And that'll be key. And so you help people by they can trust you and you're there for them and you help them a little bit. I know I've helped Daria a lot because she has these problems. She's told me about it and I've helped her with it. So I think that goes a long way. So she's more comfortable. He's going to help me here and he's going to help me there and she can relax because otherwise she's a mess. She gets very chaotic. That's probably why she's an alcoholic. She probably had a lot of problems, but that's okay. So you try to understand that, but that's how you problem solve what you want, and then you get the girl, and then you problem solve her, and then is it doable? Or maybe it isn't. Maybe you don't want to do. They do drugs and alcohol, and I can't be with somebody like that. Maybe you knew somebody who did alcohol and died from it, and it just brings you back bad memories. So you don't want to do any of that. So you stay away from that. Again, it's learning how to problem solve is a critical thing in your life. You're at a job, do a budget. Well, you got to problem solve it. Well, let's see, what is it? So first you identify a budget is how much money we can spend. Well, how do I do it? Well, okay, let's look at what we spent last year. And then we get a number on 20 million. Okay, but what we spent, are we going to spend it again? Are there projects that we did or we're not going to do? Are there new projects we're going to do that we didn't do last year? So we look at spent last year plus or minus what we're going to spend additionally or subtract. Says, okay, this is we're going from 20 million to 18 million. That's what we're going to spend because we've cut out these projects. And then each month you're going, is there any new projects or is the spend drop or did something happen? And that's what the forecasts are. So now you're going, yeah, this happened. Oh, we're cutting this out. We're adding this. And then you get you go from 20 to 18, maybe to 16, maybe to 22. And then you note it. Well, it was 18. Now it's 22 because we added this $4 million project. And so really you're just talking spend. Well, that's how you problem solve it. The problem is what is a budget? It's how much money we can spend. Now the government does a terrible job at it. They're like a $2 trillion budget and they spend $4 trillion. And so you're going, well, why is it a $2 trillion budget if you're going to spend $4 trillion? And then you've got, well, we got interest on the debt and we got, pay all these employees and we don't have any revenue coming in. Maybe they dropped in revenue, So that's how you problem solve most things is identify the problem and then try to figure out ways to solve it. So the dollar is collapsing because they're printing too much. We solve it by buying gold and silver. And I'll show you some videos shortly. The girls, well, that's a problem and a half right there. Who do I want to be? You're just happy to talk to a girl, more or less, who I want to be with. And then we get to my football. So how do I problem solve football? So we go to my site. Let's go to my site. And let's walk through. All right. So this is my Super Bowl pick. Seattle, I teased from 4.5 to 1.5, and I went under 46 to 52. It was for 3,000, 30 units or $3,000, and it was a lock. The special was a lock. So, how did I determine that? And again, so your first thing is you looking at your keys. How do I pick? Well, who's New England and who's Seattle? And you see Seattle with this great defense and Kenneth Walker, as I said, Smith and Jimba, he didn't show up. And then they took him away with that Gonzalez guy or Martinez, whatever his name is. And you got Darnold you got to worry about. And then you go, well, they got a really good defense. Well, what happened in the Ram game? Well, that's the problem in the NFL now. When you face a Stafford or Mahomes or a Josh Allen, your defense isn't going to show up as much as it does against the Giants, the Jets, and other Houston and teams like that. So you see what goes on. So you develop a skill of problem solving the team. Who are they? Well, they're a good scoring team and they got a good defense. So you're looking at offense, the defense, the coach, the quarterback, and you develop a way to solve the problem, which is who is this team? How do we rate the team? And then we look at New England and we try to rate their team. Well, pretty good defense, terrible quarterback, no running, no real receiving, average coach, quarterback stinks, and a pretty good defense. And again, they gave up 35 to Buffalo. So okay, that's about how we nailed it. We figured 27 points Seattle will score, and they scored 29 because New England against Buffalo, they gave up 35, gave us a window into when they play a good quarterback. They just had a weak schedule. They didn't play a lot of good quarterbacks. So we look at the pluses and the minuses. Not that Darnold was better than May, but he was. May just is not very good. And then their offense isn't going to move, and it didn't. Defensively, they're fairly good, and they kept them in the game for a while. But you knew you were going to get some interceptions, fumbles from Drake May. He doesn't know how to read a defense. They blitzed the hell out of him. They had 6 sacks. One was a fumble. I think they returned it for a touchdown or a pick six or something. I think they had 1 or 2 pick. I know they had 1 pick six, and I think they had 1 fumble. And so that's what a good defense will do. But again, because you can run Kenneth Walker, you can't really do the same to Seattle as you could do to New England because you weren't scared of New England's running attacks. Neither of them were good. Henderson's way overrated from Ohio State. He didn't do anything at Ohio State. So you're trying to – the best way to problem solve football is problem solve the team. And by problem solving the team is you try to recognize, as you're recognizing the girl, as you're recognizing the dollar, as you're recognizing gold and silver, you're recognizing New England. You're problem solving. You're problem solving Seattle and New England. Who are they? What kind of team are they? And you go from there. And that's really the key to it. So you like the Ram game now against New England, against Seattle, I had the Rams in the game and the over. And yet here in the Super Bowl, I had Seattle in the under. Well, how can I do that? How can I one game take the Rams and the over, and it won? The Rams covered and the over covered. But then in another game, I can take Seattle and the under. Well, wait a minute. You took the Rams. Now you're taking the Seattle. And that's where it gets into what's the characteristics of the team. The Rams had Stafford and Pukanuka, and there was no way Seattle's going to stop them. They had just played a 38-37 game a month ago, so I could see that they're not stopping the Rams. And so it's going to be high scoring. I know the Rams defense isn't that good, so Seattle could score, which is exactly what you got. Seattle went up and down the field. The Rams went up and down the field. If the Rams guy doesn't fumble the punt, the Rams would have won the Super Bowl. So that's the coach's problem for putting a guy out there who has no balls and chokes under pressure. And that's the key that you gotta understand, that you can't understand with algorithms and AI and all that bullshit. You got to see him doing it in college, and he's the good punt returner for Oklahoma, and he never fumbled. Okay, I'll sign him. But obviously, this guy on the Rams was a choker in college, right? So you're analyzing each team. So when Team A plays Team B, what do you think's going to happen? Well, Josh Allen, Stafford, Mahomes, they're going to score on Seattle. Seattle is not going to be able to pressure them and do all that like they did to New England. New England had the two guys on the line weren't very good. The quarterback couldn't read. And that's exactly what happened, which is why. But New England had a good enough defense to keep the game under. So I'm going under because I know New England's not going to score and has a good defense. And Seattle, they'll run the ball a lot with Walker. So they're gonna do more running. They're gonna they kicked a lot of field goals. And so you ended up with the exact game I figured, but you could see the variance from the Ram game. No Stafford, no Pukanuka, no points. Much better defense with New England than with the Rams. So it's going to hurt Seattle in points. Now, Seattle put up 31 on the Rams, and they put up 29 here. So, very similar. So they had a pretty good offense. How much factor will Kubiak leaving cost them? Variables change. We saw the Lions. So we had the Lions 2 years ago go 15-2, put up a lot of points, give up a lot of. They were an over team. That's what the Lions don't understand. They're not an A team. They're an over team. What does that mean? They score a lot. They give up a lot. Well, the teams that win the Super Bowl are A teams, right? The teams that win the Super Bowl, Philly, great defense. Seattle, great defense. What do the Lions have? Sorry. Yeah, when they're healthy, but then they all get injured, and here come all the excuses. And that's the problem with the Lions. They want to give you these songs and dances. Well, we had injuries. Yeah, what team doesn't, right? So this is the problem. The GM doesn't quite understand. You need a good defense. The GM pays the players too much who stick on the offense. The right tackle. Why are you paying your right tackle so much? And then you pay your wide receivers way too much. Your quarterback, who's not that good, you pay. It's not Stafford, it's golf. So you're paying him way too much, and then you need money for good defensive backups when they get injured, and you don't have it. So now you're getting guys from the grocery store as your secondary and as your defensive line. And everybody here thinks you need a good another defensive end. You don't. You need a defensive tackle. You need the guy from Miami. Let's look at the Steelers. Oh, yeah, it was Joe Green. Oh, yeah, he was the best defensive tackle probably to ever play, or Reggie White. And then you got your edge rushers. But, yeah, I mean, Jim Burke for the Giants. Crush Montana, defensive tackle. I mean, you need a good defensive tackle. A, to shut the run game down, but B, to put pressure. Joe Green, a million sacks. Okay, Greenwood came in and Jack Hamblin, but you needed Joe Green to really plug the middle up. And so the Lions have nobody at defensive tackle. So you got a lot of different variables in football year to year. The Lions lost their corner. How does that affect the team? So you got to be really sharp now, because there's all these coordinators leaving, and apparently the coach is not very good. So he can't live without the coordinator. You need the good coordinators, not really the good coach. So the Lions should have made Ben Johnson the coach, and then they would have been in the playoffs last year. No, they didn't do that. So they got the wrong coach, the wrong GM, and they're trying to win with offense, which is probably coming from Ford, who wants to, we'll be entertaining and we'll sell tickets, because they're all about selling tickets. They're not about winning. They've never been about winning, which is why they've never been into a Super Bowl. So you're doing this with each team. You're analyzing the team, you're problem solving who they are, and then you're looking at the matchup, and it's like cards, it's like poker. Each hand's a different matchup. You're playing a different person with different cards. So each hand is different. And in football, Seattle played the Niners, and then they played the Rams, and the Niners couldn't score, and the Rams scored 30 points, and then they get New England. So you're looking, it's so I gotta understand the teams, and then I can understand when A plays B, what's going when Seattle plays the Rams, what are we looking at? What kind of games it going to be? And then they play New England. And then if they were to play Buffalo or San Francisco or Arizona. So you have to know the teams, and you have to know they got new coordinators. And you got to mark that down after 2 or 3 games. You don't need the coordinator. You just see the scores after 2 or 3 games, and you see they stunk. The Giants, they were terrible. The Jets, I knew their coach is terrible, so I knew they wouldn't be any good. And that's really what you're looking at. So once you map every team, now here's how let's go into a different week. Okay, let's go. Let's go here. The fuck? Why is my thing not working? Sorry, my screen's like frozen. This is crazy. It's like my screen's frozen. Just on my thing. Well, that worked. I'm sorry. Let me. Let's try this again. It's really weird. My site's like not working. I can get in like to the home page, but when I try to get into the history or anything, it's not doing it. It's never happened, and normally I can go up and down in it. Let me reset. All right, let me read John C. Drugs and alcohol change your personality. I don't know that they change it. It's just a different personality that you have. It's not for your health is all. Natural health lifestyle is best. Well, to us it is. To some people, they do that and they go, oh, I can have a beer or I can have some weed because I did work out. May look like a rookie. Well, May is a rookie. He's not very good. Emmett Smith said there are not many elite quarterbacks now. He said maybe like three. Well, I've been saying that too. DK Beans straight edge is the best you can, natural stuff for any issue in life. Well, yeah, I mean, you try to be healthy. It depends on your point of view. I don't look my age, and uh, I'm very healthy. I go to this pool every day because it's a very important thing to keep up with your body. Like I was watching something and they said, if you just sit on the couch all day, your body will deteriorate. It's not good to just sit there. So you move. So every day I go swim. Uh, I found that to be the best thing. It keeps me busy, which I like. This is crazy. I can't. I can get into my purchase picks. This is frustrating because I'm trying to show you my thesis. So I don't know. It's not letting me in. Anyway, my thesis is I look at all the games. So it's 13 NFL games. So I look at 13 games. And there's four ways to bet it: the home, the favorite, the over, the under. And that's what I look at. And I'm gonna do something. Just a second. And just a second. No, we'll see. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm just trying to I can't get into my site. What's going on? I'll try it on the computer. It might work. Anyway, like you don't want to just sit around. You want to have balance in your life. There's nothing wrong with having a drink or two, or maybe you have some weed a little bit once in a while. That's okay. Like having a piece of chocolate cake or some ice cream or cookies once in a while is fine. A little caffeine, a little chocolate in moderation is fine. And that's kind of what you're trying to do. Um, so it's the same with drugs and alcohol. If you just have a little, it's probably fine. If you enjoy it, it's lifestyle. You try to be healthy, but if you have a little bit of wine or beer or a little weed, you're probably okay. Um, it's not for me, but a lot of people have it. So it depends on the girlfriend of what she's doing. If she's just having a little, I need a little weed and it relaxes me, okay, or a little drink and it relaxes me. If they're very violent because they're taking hard drugs or they're taking hard alcohol and drinking a fifth of whiskey or something, then that's a different animal. So it depends how much they are. But I do a lot of reading and a lot of thinking, so I'm trying to keep a clear head. I can't do football. But anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm going game by game. So I'm going team by team. And as you see me, I rank them. They're an A, they're an under, they're an over, they're the Z team. And I'm looking at the matchup. And I think it's the same in poker. Who am I playing? What are my cards? It's the same in gold and silver. The dollars collapse. What do I go to? Oh, I go to gold and silver. All that stuff. So that's really what you're trying to do. And that's the start of the problem solving. So you identify the problem. In poker, it's the other player, it's the cards I'm dealt. In what we said, gold and silver, it's the dollar. We've realized the dollar's worthless, but you're analyzing each step of it, so you're problem solving it. So we're looking at that. We're seeing against poker, who am I playing? I've analyzed them. I look at my hand they're in. I'm looking at how they're betting. The girls, you're looking at how they act. Are they really honest with you or not? That's the first thing you notice is, I got mad at Jenna one day in Barcelona. My back was really bothering me. And she said, I'm going shopping with my friend. I said, well, that's fine. Come back about noon and we'll go to lunch. And she didn't. And it was like 2 o'clock. I'm like, where the fuck are you? Well, I'm out and we're at the beach. So why don't you come? I can barely walk. You said you were going to come get me and we were going to go because I'm in no condition. I need, not that I needed help walking, but my back was sore. Let's just take a cab and go down. And she didn't do it. And it really pissed me off. And when I was with her, I told her, I lit into her and I said, this isn't right. You were supposed to come get me. Where the fuck are you? I need you to be honest with me, not, well, gosh, I was just with my friend and we wandered to the beach. And so just meet us here. And I'm like, that's not what we agreed on. So you weren't sticking up to your end of the bargain, which upsets me. If that's what you do, I expect you to do what you say. I'll be back at 12. We'll go lunch. I'm waiting for you until 12 to go to lunch. And so it was really upsetting. Do you think Seattle can repeat? Who knows? Tony, I don't know. I don't worry about that. We're way far away. But, that's what people look at. Well, Seattle just won. Well, they beat New England. Can they win? Well, if they play Kansas City, can they beat KC? It's a different animal. They get injuries. We'll see. So you have no idea until you're in the year. It's like asking me what the price of gold and silver is going to be tomorrow. I can't answer that question. I know gold will go to 10,000 and silver will go to 1,000, but I can't tell you what they're going to do tomorrow. I can see what's happening. The demand's forcing the prices up. COMEX is collapsing. So you look at that. But so problem solving football gets you into understanding each team. Then you look at the roster, and I can't understand my fucking site where I can't, it's like not registering. Certain tabs seem to be down. Anyway, we'll let that go. So as you go through the games and you see an over team and another team, let's go here. Let's look at a past week. Let's go back about 3 or 4 weeks. Let's go to this week. This week I went 9-3, which is an average week for me. And I picked, so this is Thanksgiving, I think, Green Bay and Dallas. Yeah. And, so sometimes I put the score down, sometimes I don't. But look what I'm doing. Green Bay, a B team, Detroit, an over team. Then I come here and I say Detroit's defense is a 22, but it was higher. Green Bay's was a 15. That's when they had Micah Parsons. So I still said the game will be over because Detroit doesn't have a good defense. And Green Bay does. So I end up picking that game. I like Green Bay as the underdog at 8.5, and they won 31-24. So they won. So that's game one. Okay, I'm going to take Green Bay. Then game two, KC Dallas. KC, a B team. Dallas, again, an over team. Good offense, no defense. I get a 31-28 game. I played the over in the game. Game number two. So you can see as we're going through the list, I'm analyzing each game. I end up with 12 games to play. And I go 9-3. And so it's not hard for me to find 8, 9, 10 games in a week to play. In fact, this week I found 12 and I went 9-3. So my system works most of the time, my thesis. It's not really a system, it's just analyzing the team. When I lose a game, what did I lose? All right, Atlanta and the Jets. I played it under because the Jets, it was Taylor against Cousins, so I figured two bad quarterbacks. And it was under, I think it was 39, so it was under 45. Yeah, that was probably a little too low. But it was a high score. It was 27-24. The Jets don't score. And that's a game I probably wouldn't play, or I play it very, very small. The Lion Green Bay game, I played bigger. The KC Dallas game, I played bigger. I just can't get into my site right now to show you, but that's where that's where the lock comes from. So what was my lock? The Denver-Washington game, Denver was laying 5. That was a lock. I took Denver +1, and it won 27-26. That was also the free play. Denver was 11-0 in a teaser, and play against Washington was 8-1. They had a very weak defense. Denver struggled, but at the end of the day, they did win, and we did win it, and that was a lock. So I would have played that in 2 teasers for a lot more money. That would have been a bigger bet, and that's the thesis. If you find that lock, that bigger game, then you bet it bigger. So the play on that might have been 20, 25 units. So let's say that's a $700 game, but the Jet game with Atlanta would have been would have been a $50 or $100 game. So as long as I win that Denver game, and I could lose the Jets Atlanta because that was a small game, I never would have bet a lot on that. Even though I went 1-1, I made a lot of money because the lock won and the bad game that. So as I'm going through, I can pick most of the games, and then it's how strong do I like it. And I really don't like the Atlanta Jets, two kind of teams I'm not really crazy about, but I thought it would be an under. Okay. But then when you get, and it might have snowed that day, I don't know, it was Thanksgiving. But then when you get to the Cincinnati, you go, well, they're going to beat Washington and, Bo Nix and everything and Sean Payton, and they win. And so I go 1-1, yet I win a lot of money because I lock Denver and I play them small on the Jets. And so I don't play every game the same and I don't rank every game the same. So I have more confidence in Denver winning, and the spread was only 5. So all I had to do was win, which they did. They won by 1, but that was fine. That's a winner. Even though I went around 0, so I went from 5 to +1. Oh, I went over 0. Oh, it didn't give me an advantage, but you know what it did give me? I didn't have to lay a point, and they won by 1. So at the end of the day, I got the winner ignoring these stupid stats that are meaningless. Oh, you can't cross 0 in a teaser. Why not? I just made I want to lock with it. What are you talking about? So that's kind of what you're looking at. So you're ranking the teams, strong, the strength to the weakness. And I try to give you a strong play as the free play so you can win if you listen to me. You get people like Profit who sit there and bet New England, and you go, fuck, I gave you the score of the game. Not only did I give you the free pick, I gave you the score 27-13. They won 29-13. And somebody in our class, after seeing me for years, goes and takes New England because why? They're trying to pick their own, it kind of shows me either you don't have confidence in me or you have a lot of confidence in me, but you want to make your own pick based on how I'm educating you. Either way, it was a stupid pick. If I'm giving you Seattle, the bet should have been Seattle in the under as I gave it to you. Are you here to make money or what are you here? Are you here to lose money? You're not going to listen to me and you're going to lose money. Is that why you're here? So that's just an example, and I do it for college. But in college, there's there's so many games in college that it takes you a long time to study them, especially in the early part of the year. You don't really know. Early in the year, I get fooled. The team will play well against, Alabama, and then they lose to Georgia or something. Or Texas is not as good as you thought. Like the Ohio State, Texas, I played it under. That was my first lock. And it was 14-7. So it worked well. But again, Texas turned out not to be an under team. Ohio State was an under team. But they were an A, but they had a great defense. Texas didn't. You're trying to find good player. Daggio Pava, we're going to bet on him and win a lot of money. We're not betting on Arch Manning. We're not betting on, we will bet Indiana. We didn't really know what to do with them. Never saw them being the best team. But they were. But I wasn't sure. They didn't play anybody. And then they finally went to Oregon and won. And then when against Ohio State, it was an under game. So again, there's 4 ways. There's over, under, team A, or Ohio State or Indiana. And there's always a way you can usually find at least one of those plays in the game because you either know the team's a high-scoring team or a low-scoring team, an A team or a Z team. You can figure that out by their scores. So that's how you then you start giving a list. I mean, in college, my normal week in college, I'm giving this, I give a list, like, look at all these teams on the bottom that I like. 4, 8, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 18 games I like there. So I'm for sure going to find 10. And what did I do here? And I ended up going 11-1 that week. This is actually week 1. I went 11-1, and I rank all these teams, and who do I stay away from and everything. Why was that week 1 up there? So I try to do that. So here I go 12-3. This is week number. I don't know what will. Oh, this is week week 14. Week 14, I go 12-3, but by then I know the teams very well. And so here's my list. And then I'm picking, and if I see a lock or nothing, and there's East Carolina, and then there's Troy and Southern Miss. Here I'm looking who needs it for to win their little divisions. Texas Tech, BYU, Utah. I was betting a lot of Texas Tech once I saw that they did it, but Jackson State, Kennesaw State, Western Kentucky, Central Michigan, Ohio. I'm all over the place because the system works anywhere. It doesn't matter. But I like betting them in conference, and yet still I had 12-3. So again, I'm 90%, right, or 80%, 85%, 12-3. So that's how I get 70. So that's what I'm looking at is of my picks, of 15 picks, I went 12-3. You guys get confused because you go, well, what are you doing with your? What are you doing? You're picking. But in your teasers, I might not have been 12. I might have been better than 12-3. I might have been worse than 12-3. And I might have had, there's 15 games. I might have had 10, 12 teaser plays, not the 15 that I show you. Let's see if I can get in now. It was working last week with the Super Bowl. This is crazy. It's like I'm submitting, but nothing's happening. I got a hit, but if I go into purchase picks, oh, that works fine. Really frustrating. I don't know, but anyway, I want to show you the method. So I'll do that tomorrow or whenever I can figure out what the fuck's going on with my site. It might be because the Super Bowl was dated the 19th, and we're only at the 11th, so I might get that back next week. But I should be able to see the history for sure. I know I looked at it Sunday because I marked it a winner, and then I went into the history to make sure it worked. So that's what you're doing. Now, when I post it, and I'll post 2077 and a 20 units that I want to show you. But so that'll be a pick. I'll see a strong pick with a strong pick, and I'll go, what do I want to do with it? So I'm kind of ranking how strong do I like each game, right? So I go, I went 12-3. Okay, of the 15 picks, what were my locks? So let's see if I can identify my lock here. All right, Mississippi State was a lock over 62-56. Mississippi won 38-19. So that was a lock. Oklahoma LSU was a lock. I had Oklahoma. They win 17-13, and I was under 3. My total was 3. Oklahoma wins 17-13. Also, I liked the under, but it was 37. So that was another lock that I won. Let's see. BYU UCF, I played BYU minus 17. It wasn't a lock. They won 41-21. Florida International, Sam Houston, I played Florida International. Sam Houston was a Z team, and they won 56-16. So that was a winner. Miami and Pitt, I go over. It was 48 over 42. They won 38-7. They won 45. That was a winner. Texas Tech, West Virginia, I play Texas Tech minus 24. They win 48-0 because now I realize they have this killer defense, and West Virginia wasn't very good. They win 48-0. So I'm playing them at different degrees based on that. So I might play the Texas Tech. The locks I normally play stronger. And again, I don't win 100% on anything, right? The locks don't go 100%. That's why when you look at my history, there's pro, college, and locks. There's 3 different categories. But I'm putting Texas Tech was probably in two teasers. The Oklahoma was probably two teasers. Tennessee Vanderbilt, I had the over in the game. Vanderbilt killed them against Tennessee, and that probably was in two teasers. So to say I went 12-3 is it's really unrelated because I could play them in two teasers and win a lot. The bottom line is how much did I win that week? Not, but if I do go 12-3, that's how I get to 12-3 were my picks. But again, they could be in two teasers. So I could be 24-6 if I played them all in two teasers. So my 12-3, I would have won 12 times two, 24 times. So that's the key. And then you can play 3 and 4 team teasers. So you got to look out for that. Sometimes the locks are tricky. There was a lock here, A&M, Texas. I go over 51. I went over 45, which should have went easy. A&M was scoring a ton. Texas was scoring, and they play a 27-17 game, a 44, and I missed by one. And at the end of the game, A&M go for it on fourth down instead of kicking the field goal, getting down 7. So, no, the kid threw an interception. So that's what you have. You're trying to get the strength of the game. So you've developed A&M and Texas were both over teams with 25 defenses. Should have been, all I need to do is 45 points. Should have got there easily. A couple of interceptions at the end by A&M. I overvalue the quarterback based on other games, the Notre Dame game, and then all of a sudden they missed by 1. Okay, well, it was a good play, but it misses. But normally, so I'm putting those in two teasers. So I could go 8-1 and win 15 teasers because I got them in two teasers. I play some college with pro. So don't look at the 1077 or 1577. That's just an amount out there because I'm playing it for 15 units. So if I was buying my own picks, I would look at it and go, what's my bankroll? All right, it's 5,000. So when he gives, these 7-9 unit plays, I'm going to play $50. When he gives me an 11 or 15, I'm going to play for 75. When he gives me a lock, I'm going to play for 200. And off I go. And if he plays these in 2 or 3 teasers, I'll either play them each for 200 or I'll play that. So just kind of ignore my amounts, 1577 or 1177. That's just for luck. The 1170, the 77's for luck. And then we look at the units, and that's really what you focus on. 11 units, I'm going to play X, depending on your bankroll. 15 units, Y. These are my bets that I'm making, that I'm telling you to play. Here's what I'm doing. That's what I'm showing you. I'm showing you my bet. And then when I put Oklahoma in 2 teasers, that's how I'm betting. That's how I've always bet since I was very young. In the 70s, I'd have the Steelers and 2 teasers or the Raiders. Michigan would be in 2 teasers, Ohio State, whatever. The Michigan-Ohio State game was, I played that. I told you I went 22-1 on that one rivalry Saturday, and I'm sure I had Michigan-Ohio State in 2 teasers and Washington State in 2 teasers and all the way, down through the line. So yes, I bet all of them. But because I'm going to go 12-3, I'm going to win betting all of them, right? I know I'm going to have losers. I can't avoid that. That's why when some joker comes on and says, "Oh, the teaser lost," I'm like, "Yeah, what were you expecting?" I'm not going to go 15-0. I know that. If you don't know that, then you shouldn't be betting football or something. But you got to bet what your bankroll says for my game. So a 15 unit maybe is 100 or 150. Unless you got $100,000 bankroll, then you should be kind of betting differently on your 11 units and 15. But basically, the 7 and 9 are about the same. The 15 and 17 are about the same, and then the locks a normal 20, 21 unit lock should be played a little bit more. When I give you a 30 unit lock like the Super Bowl, then that should be a bigger bet. Sort of as I say when I was with Ron's back in the early, late 70s, and he'd give 70s and 75. He'd send you a letter, and there'd be like 5 games on it. Most of them were 70%. And I just ignored them because I picked my own. But like I said, that Orange Bowl, when he came up with a 92 for Florida State, then he because he was honest and he didn't put 92s all over the place, mostly 60s and 70s, then I jumped on it. And like I said, I had $2,000 in 1981 on Florida State, Oklahoma Orange Bowl, and I won it. And so I will listen to him. That would have been a play I would not have played by myself, although I did like it, but I might have played it for 200 or 300, 1981. But I played it for $2,000. I played it with the Michigan because Michigan always played close in the bowl games and always lost, but they were a dog. I think they were playing Alabama or Oklahoma, Michigan. So it was a perfect under, but I played the Michigan in the points. I think they lost by 3. I was getting 10 and played it with that. So it was a perfect teaser. But that's the point. That's how I learn, and that's how I play it. So I'm ranking the teams different. You cannot play teasers betting the same, betting $200 on every teaser or $50 on every teaser. But the reason I play so many picks is because I know I'm going to be right 75% of the time on my picks, right? Michigan under is going to win. And so is Oklahoma, Texas, Ohio State. There's so many teams. Oh, here's Jacksonville State, Missouri. Oh, look, App State, so there's so many teams. But once you realize the teams, and as we get about 3 weeks in, you start realizing, hey, Georgia State's really good this year. Well, I'm the only one who knows that. Cam Rising, I'm the only one who knows that at the time. And Tyler Van Dyke in Miami, nobody else understood that. They're looking at the team. I'm checking the box scores, saying, hey, this quarterback threw for 5 touchdowns and 400 yards against a good team. Yeah, I'm going to start betting him. And the over-unders were very low. So that's what you're looking at. And as it gets deeper into the year, so you can tell the offensive defensive coordinators by the scorers and the opponents. So if Miami were to beat Georgia, if they beat Georgia Southern, it's not the same. So that's kind of what you're looking at. So you're realizing all the teams, but I can find I can go over or under, and I can go team or take the team or get a bet against the Z team. That's why when you listen to me go through the games for that week, I'm telling you the Z teams. And if you get a decent team, how many locks did we win this year betting against the Z team with the good over team? And mostly it was Sun Belt or Conference USA. You got the Z team and you got this explosive team. I don't remember the game, but it was an easy winner. Here, BC, Syracuse. BC's laying 3, and Syracuse is a Z team, and BC wins 34-12. That's why we point out the Z teams, because we like betting against them. Let's see, do I have one? Yeah, Florida International, an over team, played Sam Houston, a Z team. And they both had 30-some defenses. So I took Florida International because they were scoring, laying only 11 against the Z team, and they won 56-16. And that's a perfect example why I play so many games. What do you want me to do, not play that game? That game should have been locked. I don't think I locked it, but I did play Florida International, and they won by 40. So that's the method to my madness. I go game by game, and oh, wait, it's a Z team. Now I'm pretty sure it's a Z team. Early on, I might get fooled by the Z team, week 2 or 3, because they played Oklahoma or Alabama or Georgia. But once they're into their schedule, once they're in their conference, and I see them as a Z team, then I pounce on them. And so going through, you pick it. So I go 12-3, and because I can't ignore Florida International, Sam Houston. So it's an easy bet, right? And so that's why I play so many games. But it makes sense because I'm going to go 75% on my picks. on the Florida International, on the Miami, on the Oklahoma, on the Texas, on the Michigan. They're all good bets. Indiana, Ohio State. Oh, they need the game. And so you go right down the list um, of good games, and then you just, oh, but this one's really good, so this is going to be my lock. And I don't, some weeks I don't have a lock, but when I do get a lock, that's what I'm looking for. I go, oh, I love this game. I'm surprised I didn't lock Florida International over Sam Houston. I probably got a little scared because it's Florida International, but they still killed. So, okay, that's my lock. I'm betting against the Z team with a good off. And I locked those games 2 or 3 times once we got into the meat of the schedule. So that was not a hard thing to do. And that's the point. So you bet those more. You bet them all, but you bet small amounts. A $5,000 bankroll, and so I'm giving you 11 unit plays. You're probably betting 30, 40, $50 on it, but you want to bet them all. You want to bet all my picks. You want to bet all my locks. Like if you're betting $50 on the picks, you want to bet 200, 300 on the locks, right? Ignore my 1177s. That's what I'm doing. I'm showing you strength. It doesn't mean you should bet 1177 or not, right? I mean, sometimes I bet more than that. Sometimes I bet less than that, but it's just, I'm trying to give you 11 units. So it makes sense. So I say 1177 because I want you to bet 11 units, but the 11 unit is going to be, maybe $50, maybe $100, not necessarily bet 1177. So I know I've been asked about the 77. It's just for luck. 1100. Now I'm not keeping track of the juice. That's not the purpose of that. The purpose of it is to give you a ranking of the team so you bet more on it, because I don't want you betting the same amount. And I developed this in the late 70s, early 80s, probably with Joe Montana, and I've never had a losing year, because as the year goes on, I am, people ask me, who's your favorite team? I don't have one. It's just who's hot. Denver, my favorite team this year, Denver. They go 17-1 in a teaser, or New England, Jacksonville. They're not my favorite team, but I bet them a lot this year because they were good. Mahomes is a dog. Joe Burrow. So that's my favorite team depending on the week. But you've got to be able to bet on or against the teams. And then you're kind of looking how strong their defense and how strong their offense. Like the Lions, an over team, where Cincinnati is an over team, where Houston's an under team, looking at their things. Sometimes you bet Houston and the under, but you're definitely understanding the team. And I do it for every college team, every conference. Sometimes you get a little bit misled by the Sun Belt or the MAC. The MAC was very hard to pick because the players keep going up to the Big Ten who are good. And now you're like, you got a bunch of nobodies, so you really don't know what you have in the MAC. It's probably the hardest. The Mountain West is okay. Texas Tech was gold this year. BYU, very strong. Utah. So you're constantly, you're finding 15 games in college and then probably another 10 in the pros. So I got 25 games and I'm going to hit 75% of them. Not necessarily the teaser, because it could be higher or lower depending if I put them. I'm putting a lot in 2-team teasers, as you can see, and that's the key. I don't know why my site. Oh, I think it finally worked. Okay, now it's working. All right, let's go to 12-1. Oh, I'm so excited it's working. All right, so here's my 12-1. This is week ending 12-1. And here we go. Look at all my plays. And then I rank them. Did I win or lose? So look at our locks. Air Force under with Texas over, and it lost. Cincinnati in the NFL with Texas over, lost. Philly, Denver, lost. Well, this isn't a good week. Mississippi over Oklahoma. That one won. But you can see here, I got Cincinnati in the NFL over probably in two teasers. Cincinnati over. Let's see. Trying to make a point. Dallas to Cincinnati over one. And then let's see. Well, it was probably like a Thursday night game. Let's go down here. So here we see, here we go. Texas over with Alabama, and then Texas Tech straight up with Alabama. And so Texas Tech won, Texas lost. Let's see. Houston under with Seattle under one. And then I played Denver with Seattle under, which won. So you can see I played Seattle under in two teasers. I played Houston under, one with Seattle, one with New England over. So you can see the method. I got Houston under twice. I got Seattle under twice. My lock was Frisco under with Denver, which won. That was probably that game with Washington. Then you can see I played Denver, Seattle under, which won. So that's kind of the method, right? So I'm playing the team in two teasers, Alabama in two teasers. I'm winning with Virginia, BYU. Texas Tech, North Texas. And there's one of my play against the Z team. North Texas wins. Utah, BYU wins. USC over with Oklahoma. I guess USC didn't go over that game. Ohio State under with Frisco under one. So I'm looking at all these multiple teams and multiple teasers. So when you ask me how did I do, and I can't say, well, I went 12-3 because I've got multiple. I got teams in multiple teasers on purpose. I want that. I love that. What was it? Seattle under, Houston under. I love those. You saw their defenses, right? You saw how strong they were. So if they're playing a decent team, Houston might have been playing, I don't know. Well, they weren't playing Denver, but maybe they were playing Arizona or the Jets or something. They're not going to score. So you play a bad team, you can play Houston under. So that's what I did. And you see that and you lock it. Now, not every lock wins, as I say. That was a bad week for locks, but a good week for the Seattle and the Houstons and the Denvers and the Philadelphias. So the pros were much better than that. So that's what you look at. You see the game and you love it. And then that's why it's in two teasers. That's why it gets locked. And the Air Force under, I was hitting. That one was coming through a lot because they had switched. But it was the Texas over that got me. USC over cost me. So there's a few games. And then what I do is if I pick a game like on Friday and with the Saturday game, let's say, and it loses, I play the game again. So when I'm trying to tell you guys, I will add late, especially if it's a game that we've played. So we might play the big noon game and the night game, and the big noon game loses. Well, I still like the night game, so I'm going to play the night game either with the Sunday game or with another night game. So I always tell you when you buy, that's the theory that you should be understanding. Well, he liked Oklahoma at night, so I'm going to still play Oklahoma. He's given me that pick. And again, over the course of the picks, I'm going to do 70-75% as I do. I was 12-3. I don't know if it was that week or not, but you can see all the games picked, and then I win. It's a little unusual that I'm picking, like most guys, if you buy from a handicapper, it's going to give you 3 games, 4 games with no explanation. Me, you get explanation. You understand the reason why we bet the game. Did it lose? Sure. Did it win? Sure. We understand it wins and loses, but we understand the rationale of making the bet. Air Force was playing a lot of under. They weren't scoring. I played Air Force, and it won. Texas over, they've been scoring a lot. They probably played an easy team, and they didn't go over. I don't remember that one. It might have been the Texas Tech game. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably the A&M game. But Texas Tech were hammering them under with that great defense. And that's why I look at the stats. Oh, they're a 10 defense. So I'm playing Ohio State under, and I'm playing Texas Tech under, and Miami under. And then that's kind of what you're doing. You're going to the strength. They got a good quarterback. We'll bet them over. Sometimes we'll bet the team, or we bet the over-under. If I really don't know who's going to win, Georgia playing Texas, but they both have good defense, I'm going to play it under, right? Alabama, Georgia, I don't know who's going to win, but if it's, when Georgia has the defense, I'm playing Georgia. I'm playing the game under. There's live dogs. I mean, you're looking at the game going, this game's even. I'm going to take the dog. I tell you that all the time. When A plays A, tease the dog, because really you can't say the team one's going to beat team two. They're both equal. Ohio State, Indiana, good luck picking the winner. I played the game under 13-10. Same thing with Miami, Ohio State. I played the game under 24-14, easy winner. Look at the final game, Indiana, Miami. I played it over because Miami was scoring, and Miami did score 24 in Ohio State. So I used that as the barometer, and it went over, and we won it. So you're looking at how they play other certain teams. The problem I have is when they don't play anybody, like Michigan that year didn't play anybody, and you're like, what the fuck do I do with this game? So I can't really play the game because they didn't play anybody, so I have no barometer how good Michigan was. And that, and then they played Alabama. I took Alabama, and Alabama should have won, but Milrose fumbled. I was surprised somebody drafted Milrose. I think it was Frisco or Seattle or one of those teams drafted Milrose. I couldn't believe it. Like, the guy stinks. I mean, he's not even that good. He stinks. Trey Lance. What are you still dicking around with Trey Lance? It's just such bad quarterbacking because they don't know. They keep looking for the running quarterback, and that's not what you want. You want Joe Burrow. You want Mahomes. You want Stafford. Even Darnold did not run. The running quarterback is just stupid. It's based on we don't have enough guys to block, so we need our quarterback to run. But you need the quarterback to throw. That's why Lamar will never win. Because he can't throw, and Baltimore is going to keep losing. Baltimore will never win anything with Lamar. That's what I'm saying. I would play him as a wide receiver because, okay, you've lost 8 years with Lamar as your quarterback. How many you want to lose another 5 or whatever? And now he's getting hurt a lot. He's getting older. He's a bad quarterback. Nothing personal against Lamar. And he's a damn fast guy who should be playing at the proper position of wide receiver. And that's my thing. And when you go down, Jalen Hurts, not a good quarterback. We go down, we can go down the list here. If we go down the list, we go down, I don't know if we can even do week 18. All right, let's go down the list. Carolina, Steve Young, terrible. Tampa with the Baker, he's pretty good. Seattle, Darnold, okay, he didn't choke. Purdy, I think he's okay. He's not great, but he's pretty good. Indy with who? Daniel Jones, Riley Leonard. Their best quarterback's Bean from Kansas if they get to him. Riley Leonard's not very good, and Jalen Daniel and Daniel Jones is not very good. Another one of these type of running quarterbacks. Houston, C.J. Stroud, he's not good. You've got to look at it and go, he's not good, but for some reason they play him, and it's like he didn't do anything at Ohio State, and he kind of just fades to the right and puts up a miracle. That's every play with C.J. Stroud. Tennessee, Ward, why was he playing this year? Do you think he gained anything out of playing this year? Absolutely not. Probably got his confidence shattered. He'd have done better off watching and learning than than actually playing. Trevor Lawrence stinks. Still can't throw the ball. Decent runner. Dallas with Dak, not very good. Giants with Dart, another running quarterback, is not very good. And he wasn't good in college. This is what blows my mind. Green Bay, okay, you got Love, who's average at best. Not very good. Too many turnovers. More of a passer than the runner, but he's not very good. And again, that's why Green Bay is struggling. They're not. They shouldn't have lost to the Bears. Minnesota, who do you got? J.J. McCarthy, Brosmer. They both stink. Now you've got to realize J.J. McCarthy stinks and get rid of him. Part way. It's like I told you. Poker, you're looking at the hand, get out of it, or the dollar with gold. As soon as the dollar's worthless, you buy the gold and silver. Well, JJ McCarthy, he's worthless. So he's the girl that she's pretty, but she's bitchy, and she won't play with you, and she's demanding, and she wants money. You break up with her, or you don't even go out with her. You don't keep going out with her like, oh, maybe she'll change. She's not going to change. So you break it off with her. And that J.J. McCarthy, break it off with him. Sorry, go back to the grocery store. You're a lousy quarterback. Cleveland, I don't know what you're going to do there. Prime Junior stinks. Gabriel, maybe he's okay. You got such a bad team. Cincy Joe Burrow, we love him. New Orleans, Tyler Shaw, I don't know enough about him. He did play at Texas Tech, I believe, and then went to Louisville. I don't know how good he is. They seem to do better with him. Atlanta, Kirk Cousins, terrible. Penix, very good. Washington, Daniels, very good. Philadelphia, Hurts, not very good. They won a Super Bowl with Hurts. No, they didn't. They won the Super Bowl because of their defense. Their defense was all over Mahomes, and they got a pick six. They got another pick to the 10-yard line. They put a lot of pressure on him. So it was Mahomes had no time, but it was nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. It was more Barkley and the defense. When the defense is scoring and Hurts, Miami, Tagliabue was terrible. So New England with Drake May, he's not very good, as you saw, against a good team. This is the problem here. They're playing Miami. They won 38-10. Isn't Drake May good? No. Who did he play? Show me him against a good team. You can't, because they didn't play one. Finally, against Houston, they got 5 interceptions by C.J. Stroud. He played an average game. He did nothing against Denver, and he did nothing against San Diego. So why are you so high on Drake May? Arizona, Brissett. Okay, he's average at best. The Rams, Stafford, absolutely a star. Kansas City, Mahomes, of course. Oakland, Smith's terrible. Pickett's terrible. If they draft Mendoza, he's not going to do well. They need an offensive line. They do have Brock Bowers. They do have the running back. Their draft pick should be Ruben whatever from Miami. Anyway, San Diego, Herbert, not good in the clutch. He's okay, but not great. And then Denver, Bo Nix he's a star. Detroit, Golf's not good. They need to get rid of him. But see, this is the problem. He's okay. He can throw the pass and make completions, but he's not very good. He's terrible in the clutch. 5 picks against Houston, 5 picks against Washington in the playoff game, a terrible second half against the Niners in the playoff game. Lost to Minnesota, lost to Pittsburgh, played terrible. Somebody said, oh, yeah, but he ran the ball in on that fumble. He has heart. No, he doesn't have heart. He realizes he sucks, so he's doing whatever he can to make it look like he's good. He's the biggest choke. Break it off with him. Move on. Trade him. Get Ruben Bain from Miami. Get him from Miami or Baylor from Texas Tech. Build your defense up. and go find yourself Kyle Trask or one of these backups, or go draft Dagio Pavia or one of these guys, and that's your quarterback. But you can see you're not winning with Goff as your quarterback. So just an observation. Chicago with Caleb. Caleb's not that good. Again, threw 3 picks. So he lost this game against Detroit. He threw 3 picks in the playoff game to the Rams. He threw some picks against Green Bay. He gets these miracle passes where he's scrambling around. They need to blitz him with safeties. You don't use these big offensive linemen that he can move around. You put some safeties blitzing him, like Seattle was doing in the Super Bowl. If Seattle played the Bears and they did that, Caleb would do nothing. He'd throw 3 or 4 picks, no touchdowns, and that's it. Caleb is not good. He's an average quarterback. He didn't learn how to be good. They ran the ball a lot more, and he's throwing these miracle passes at the end, but way too many interceptions. I don't buy Caleb's any good. The Jets, I don't know who they even have. Joe Namath, maybe. Buffalo, Allen's good, but too much, wants to run. He shouldn't be. Baltimore, again, Lamar's terrible. Should be a wide receiver. And Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is still great. This is a game they did beat Baltimore 26-24. Rodgers took them from behind. So Aaron Rodgers is fine. You need more Aaron Rodgers guys who stay in the pocket and just can spot and understand the play before it's snapped. And that's the problem with half these guys. Caleb, CJ Stroud, they want to scramble around, take Livua. They all want to scramble around and to try to get, to try to buy time to throw the ball down the field. And it's always a miracle because they're just hoping somebody gets open. So that's how I do football. So I look at each team. I grade the team. I look at the matchup. That's why sometimes I tell you I got pocket aces. I got great matchups. I got 2 good teams playing. I can tease the dog. I got Houston playing Denver. I can play the game under. I got, good game. This team's an over. The Detroit playing Washington. I can bet it over. And that's what I mean by good matchups. Bad matchups is I have Detroit playing Houston. What do I do with the game? Detroit's not going to be able to score. Their defense sucks, so Houston could score on them, and so it ends up where it's not as clear what to do with it. It's sort of like, is the guy bluffing me in poker? He made a good bet. Is he bluffing or not? And you don't really know. Whereas the girl, well, she seems nice, but we got to go out a few more times so I can see if she's really like this or she's pretending, and see what happens. And that's kind of what you're looking at. So that's how I pick football. So when you play me, you're going to make a lot of money if you just try to don't get caught up in I went 11-3, but my teasers weren't 11-3. There's plenty of weeks I'm going to pick a lot more teasers, and I show you an 11-0 and a 10-0 teaser ticket. There's plenty more of those weeks than worrying about, well, you didn't go 11-3 in your teasers. These are ignorant people making ignorant statements. Why do you think I win every year? Because I'm good at picking the games. That's what I'm 75% at, and then it's just putting them in the teaser. And then, yes, some teasers are going to lose. I'm not Bernie Madoff, but I'm going to win a lot more than I'm going to lose. And that's the point. You're going to be a winner each week instead of fucking around. Well, you didn't go 11-3. Well, no, those are my picks, not my teaser bets. There's a whole difference. But you're going to make a lot of money because my picks do go 75%, 70, sometimes 80, 90. I usually have a couple of weeks I go 12-0. Did I delete your messages? No, your messages are there. Are the 2026 schedules out? That's one of your messages, John C. Yeah, they can change your personality. That's one of your messages. So I don't know what you're talking about. All the messages should be visual. So it all comes down to problem solving. I'm problem solving the teams to know who we think we can bet on. I'm problem solving. The dollar is worthless. So the best answer is gold and silver. So I want to get to, that's 2 hours. So let's quickly get to, um, all right, we'll do an Egon, and then I'm going to do a Ray Dalio showing how stupid he is.
A bull market and a bull market which has moved very fast. People have to remember that. Gold is up 86% since January 2025, and silver is up 155%. You have to bear that in mind when you look at these corrections, because both gold and silver are up massively in the last year. Now, just look at, for example, the Standard & Poor's against gold. If you look at that chart, gold is just bottomed against the Standard & Poor's index and has just turned up and broken now the downtrend and is in a clear uptrend. And that uptrend is a multi-annual uptrend. So we're going to see paper market losing massively against real markets or real commodities like gold and silver. I expect this to last many years, 5 years, 10 years, maybe longer. It's a new monetary era, and that will lead to the end of the present currencies as we know them. And of course, it will also lead to the end of the financial system as we know it. It's not going to totally finish, of course, but it will be totally different in a few years' time, be restructured, because banks will have problems and many banks will fail. Sovereign bond markets will also collapse. Interest rates will go up to percentages that we saw in the 1970s, which is high teens, 20%, maybe even higher, and there'll be high inflation. Let's look at the fundamentals of the actual precious metals. As I pointed out at the beginning, the precious metals correction that we've seen now is a totally normal correction. And obviously, the investors that have bought in the last couple of weeks, they're slightly down now, but gold, for example, is actually unchanged on the year, while silver is a bit down on the year, just marginally. So the move is so fast that we forget the price we know just a few weeks ago. But remember what I'm saying here, that is that gold and silver are in an era where they will go up by multiples from here. And, obviously, measuring it in paper currency like dollars or euros or yen doesn't give the true picture. That is not the real appreciation of the precious metals. The real one is if you measure it in house prices or in cows or chickens, but nobody does. It's so convenient to use dollars. But investors should really not look at how much money they're making in dollars or how many dollars of metals they have. They should look at instead how much gold they own and how much silver they own and measure that in ounces or kilos or grams if you want. And that's a true measure rather than looking at a paper price, which is actually meaningless when the currency is being debased by the day. Now, we should have a look at the exchanges where actually silver and gold are traded. COMEX in New York is a paper market. It's a fake market, or a false market at least, and their prices are being manipulated by big bullion banks and by hedge funds. Let's take, for example, the last drop that we saw on the 30th of December. This is the massive falls in gold and silver. And there are normally circuit breakers that stop the fall and freeze the market for 10 minutes for the market to recover. But the hedge funds have found a manipulative way of really cutting out these circuit breakers so they can set prices and price limits that circumvent the circuit breakers. And that's what they did on Friday. So we never saw a 10-minute stop in the metals markets on Friday. Instead, we saw a 5-second stop that is hardly noticed. And this is the way that hedge funds can actually circumvent the circuit breakers and continue trading throughout the day and continue selling, which really is totally against the spirit of how these circuit breakers should work. But of course, hedge funds are more clever than whoever sets up the system. So if we look at COMEX now, there is a massive shortage of both gold and silver, and massive shorts outstanding in the paper markets that can never be settled in physical. Remember, this is really only a paper market and was never meant for delivery. And now the market realizes there are not enough metals for delivery anyway. So this is why many participants now and many observers are actually looking at COMEX potentially failing within the next few weeks or months. And that is a very high risk. Well, as we keep telling our clients, don't trade in paper gold, don't trade in paper silver, don't trade in ETFs, buy physical gold, buy physical silver, and keep it outside of the banking system in safe vaults where you yourself have direct access to your metals. That is the only way to preserve wealth and hold your metals. Now, going over to silver, silver is the biggest problem market now in precious metals. And physical silver is traded on the LBMA in London by LBMA banks in London. And that is a physical market. But it's not a physical market anymore. There are over 2 billion ounces of silver claims. That is 2 years production, or more than 2 years production. And that silver just doesn't exist in physical form. So if these paper holders ask for delivery, which they will do, there will not be any physical silver to deliver. And this is why there's a high likelihood that also the LBMA market in London will fail. So I want to come back to the fact that you have to expect now, as an investor in gold and silver, you have to expect much higher volatility. I said years ago that silver is not for widows and orphans because it moves very fast, and if you can't take the heat in the kitchen, you should stay out. But at the same time, silver is an incredible opportunity to get real returns on real assets here in the form of physical silver, because we expect silver to move a lot faster than gold. We started buying gold in 2002 for our clients and for ourselves at $300. We actually bought bigger amounts already then because we saw this end of the monetary era already at that time. And at the time I said that I expect gold to move to at least $10,000. It's not a firm target. It's just a round number that it is likely that gold will reach. So we're only just halfway there now, but we can move the next $5,000 very, very quickly. And if you take $10,000 gold, which is not the ultimate target in my view. We're going to move a lot higher because we're measuring it in paper money, and paper money is going to collapse much faster now at an exponential rate. But anyway, if we use $10,000 for gold, then let's say that silver goes to historical ratio gold silver of about 15. $10,000 divided by 15, that is $666 for silver. That is a minimum, and I think we'll reach a lot higher than that. The ratio could easily go to 10, for example, and you take $10,000 divided by 10, you get $1,000. But it's not the point here that you're speculating to make money on gold and silver. And this is, as I said, really not real money, because a lot of it is inflationary money because the currencies are going down so fast. So you're holding gold and silver to protect yourself, your family, and to protect generational wealth against the end of a monetary era and the destruction of paper assets, and obviously including money. Don't hold any money in the bank. The banks probably won't survive, and the paper money will not survive either. So don't be afraid of buying more gold and silver here. You've got a fantastic opportunity, especially in silver, because it has had a bigger correction. So buy here, buy as much as you can afford, both gold and silver. Gold is the king of metals, but silver represents a fantastic opportunity. So for anyone who hasn't bought enough at this point, this is the time to buy, not be worried about the correction. Corrections gives you an opportunity which is unique right now, and therefore take advantage of that. As Mr. Gold, James Sinclair, said a few years ago, he said, there will be a day when both gold and silver will go no offer. That means no one will offer you a price for gold and silver because there's such a shortage and you just can't get hold of it. So there's a bid, which means people want to buy it at a price, and there's no offer because there just isn't any physical silver or gold available. So in summary, the correction is just a normal correction, just an opportunity to increase your share of gold and silver if you haven't bought enough already. And then just don't worry about it. We will have many more volatile corrections, but I think the next move when this correction is finished is going to be a very big move again for the next few months before it stops for a while again. But this is a multi-year view, which will, as I said, go to multiples of the current price.
And like I'm saying, I'm looking at $10,000 gold and $1,000 silver. That's where it's headed. And then we'll adjust from there. Eventually $25,000 gold and $5,000 silver. But we'll go a little piece at a time. Let's see. I'm looking for this Ray Dalio thing. Where the fuck is it? Ah, here it is. So he was on this Tucker Carlson.
Simply open this unassuming box, and in just 3 seconds, 99% of the dust in your home will.
When you hear people speaking lightly of civil war, which they are, going to be, that big of a deal. I think that doesn't mean it won't grow, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. So my last question is, given your description of the United States as in stage 5 in a process that only
which doesn't mean it's inevitable.
Of course, but there are only 6 stages in the process you described. So it's toward the terminus.
It's the time that it's time to worry.
So you go to Washington, you try to convince policymakers, members of Congress, people in administration, here's what you need to do. You've described the reception you get as like, hey, you don't understand politics, we can't do that. So that's not a lot of headway made, obviously, for obvious reasons. Do you have advice for people watching who are not policymakers, who are just Americans, as to what they can do to prepare for whatever comes next?
Well, there's the basics. Earn more than you spend. Try to save. Diversify your portfolio, including about money. And those things are of paramount importance. Think about the country, the opportunities. Where are the opportunities? People have migrated from one place to another. And most importantly is raise your children well, so that.
So look at my comment. Delio is an idiot. How about gold, silver, and inflation making the US dollar worthless? So the guy's asking him, what's the 3 best things you can do? Make more money than you spend. Well, it doesn't matter if the dollar is inflated to 0. He never talks gold and silver. He never says the dollar is going to collapse. What the fuck? This guy's an idiot, right? He didn't say anything. He didn't mention what, this is what you should do, and he couldn't answer the question. He's another one of these hedge fund managers like Madoff, so you wonder if he's even real. It seems like every one of these hedge fund managers like Larry Fink are billionaires, so you think they're smart, and I say they're not smart. He couldn't answer the question. He could not answer to get into gold and silver. What do we say? The dollar's worthless, get into gold and silver. Very simple. 5th grade level. Dollar's worthless because they're inflating the shit out of it because they're printing it. Buy gold and silver because they can't inflate it. Very, very easy. But he doesn't say it. He's so worried about his phases. Well, phase 6 won't happen, but we're in phase 5. And it doesn't have to happen. Yes, it has to happen. The dollar will go to 0 unless they back it by gold, but he can't explain that. He does this little phase thing. He doesn't talk properly, so you don't know what he's saying, and then he doesn't bring up gold and silver. So you want to listen to Ray Dalio, be careful. Now there's this other thing from this moron. This Bitcoin guy. All right. So this is Michael Saylor, the Bitcoin scammer. This is the Bernie Madoff of Bitcoin. So this is 8 minutes. Let's hear him explain Bitcoin. He can't do it either. He doesn't talk clear. People that talk at like this high level with strange words that nobody understands are liars. This guy's a liar.
I emphasize again, it is free to join my community. The stocks I share are also free. The techniques and strategies I...
Big story of the morning, Bitcoin. Prices remain a lot, pretty volatile. We are still under 70,000 right now. Strategy, though, is buying more, adding about $90 million worth to its stockpile. Joining us right now is Michael Saylor, Strategy Executive Chairman and Founder. Doubling down, sir, at a time when others have gotten pretty nervous about what's going on. Want to get into your business and so much more, but to speak to the way you think the price action and movement has taken place. A lot of people trying to come up with an explanation, and I'm curious what yours is.
I think the key to keep in mind is that Bitcoin is digital capital. It's going to be 2 to 4 times as volatile as traditional capital like gold or equity or real estate. It's got 2 to 4 times the performance this decade of traditional capital. It's the most useful global capital asset in the world. You can put more leverage on it. You can trade it in more ways than any other kind of capital asset. So,
what the fuck did you just say? Capital. Bitcoin is digital capital. Bitcoin's not real. What kind of capital are you talking about? You see how he talks. You can't understand him, so you can't say, well, he's right or he's wrong. But he talks in terms. Do you ever hear me talk like capital? No, I tell you gold and silver what it is and money what it is. So he's talking in a way that I can't follow him. I don't know what he means. Digital capital. It's more this, it's more that. It's not real. It's not worth anything. So he's trying to do the Madoff where he's doing a Ponzi scheme and he's trying to say, no, buy more, because it only goes up if you buy it because it's a Ponzi scheme. So when people talk like this, it just shows you they don't know what they're talking about. Because if he did, he could talk at a lower level so everybody could understand it. I don't know what he means by capital, digital capital is zero. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing.
Volatility is the bug, but the volatility is the feature. And we believe that digital capital, because it's so much more performance, is the basis for an entirely new set of financial instruments that we call digital credit.
Is there any argument to be made, though, and given that that Bitcoin has sort of done a round trip since the beginning of this administration, that we are now finally getting to some kind of price discovery moment that's fundamentally different? That in the past, Bitcoin, because it wasn't in ETFs, because it wasn't as broad-based, that there wasn't the kind of price discovery that's now available today, and maybe these prices are more realistic than what had been the case before.
Well, there's no doubt the asset is seasoning, and that's a good thing. We just had an all-time high, Andrew, 4 months ago. October 6th, I believe. So if you've got a time horizon of less than 4 years, you're not really a capital investor, you're a trader, and the traders are having a field day with the volatility, good for them. But the capital investors are looking out 4 years, and if you look at a 4-year time frame, Bitcoin is 2 to 3x the performance of the alternative capital assets, and anything built on Bitcoin over a 4-year or more time frame is going to outperform for the same reason.
The concern, as you know, about
capital asset. At what point is a digital coin, which isn't real, a capital asset? At what point is Bitcoin an asset? Bitcoin is not an asset. It's not money. This capital, well, if you're in it as an investor, going up and down, but I'm in it for the capital appreciation and the capital asset. The fuck is he talking about? Well, maybe the price is settling down. No, it's all over the place because it's not worth anything. It's not real. There's nothing there. I can show you gold. I can show you silver. I can show you this. A digital asset is fantasy land. What capital are you talking about? Are you going to do bonds on crypto? What are you, nuts? Who wants it? Nobody wants it. There's no demand for it. It doesn't. You can't use it in making electronics or the defense contractors, Tomahawk missiles. Well, we're going to use digital in it. Yeah, we'll put Bitcoin in it. I don't know what he's talking about, but for capital, digital capital, I gotta. Here's my question. What the fuck is digital capital on a fake asset? So he keeps saying this. He doesn't explain it. Nobody knows what the hell he's talking about. Is gold capital? Gold's gold. I got ounces of gold, got ounces of silver. I don't know what he's talking about. A digital capital. What are you doing with it? There's no crypto bonds. The prices fell from 120 to 68, and you're excited because it's capital and the investors are losing their ass in it, but everything's fine. All right.
Strategy itself, to the extent that there are worries within the Bitcoin community, is that, if Bitcoin continues to fall, and I know you've made the argument that you have enough cash on hand to handle this for the next 2 years, that there could be a moment at which you have to sell, not buy.
Yeah, that's an unfounded concern. The truth is our net leverage ratio is half the typical investment grade company. We've got 50 years worth of dividends in Bitcoin. We've got 2.5 years worth of dividends just in cash on our balance sheet. So we're not going to be selling. We're going to be buying Bitcoin. I expect we'll be buying Bitcoin every quarter forever.
Just so we...
A dividend. What kind of dividend are you getting on Bitcoin? It doesn't give dividends. Just like gold and silver don't give dividends. What's he talking about? We're going to be buying every quarter forever. Well, no, the dollar is going to go out, which means Bitcoin's going to go to zero. So he doesn't understand inflation, which makes the dollar worthless. So his Bitcoin that he's holding is worth less and less and less. I don't know what kind of company he does. If it's an IT company, but they're going to be struggling. You must have competition in China and everything. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Is he on drugs? This is a guy who's like on drugs or something.
All understand. What is the price at which this story gets much more complicated for you and therefore the rest of the Bitcoin community? I think there's a sense that, given how large a player you are, if the price of Bitcoin were to fall to a place and continue to stay there for 2.5 years from now, and you were forced into a selling position, that unto itself could create a cascading problem.
Andrew, if Bitcoin falls 90% for the next 4 years, we'll refinance the debt.
You refinance where, Michael?
We'll just roll it forward. I mean, again.
But you think banks would lend to you at that point?
Yeah, because the volatility of Bitcoin is such that there's always going to be value. Look, you're at 68,000 right now. Literally has to fall to 8,000. Then we just refinance the debt. If you think it's going to zero, then we'll deal with that. But I don't think it's going to zero, and I don't think it's going to 8,000 either. But the credit risk is de minimis at this point.
I guess the bigger question is, I know you have a stock of cash that you can use to continue to pay out the dividends and beyond. How long does that carry you through?
2.5 years, Becky.
I thought you had some.
We've got 2.5 years of cash. We wouldn't have to raise any money.
Okay, so that includes the debt. That includes the debt due next year as well.
We have 2.5 years of dividend coverage and debt coverage in cash. We raised $4 billion this year so far. We raised $25 billion last year. There isn't credit risk to the company. The story here is that the digital credit, STRC, is the most popular credit instrument of the decade. It's trading 100 times as much as traditional preferred stocks, and it generates 2 to 4 times the cash flow of any other fixed income instrument. So that's the revolution taking place. There isn't any credit risk in the balance sheet of the company.
Why do you think the stock's down 60% over the last year?
The company's engineered to be amplified Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes up, we go up faster. When Bitcoin falls, our volatility is higher. We've created a.
But she asked, why do you think it's going down? Why did it go from 120 to 68? Doesn't answer the question.
An asset that's got an 80 vol. And so the stock falls because Bitcoin's been in a bear market for the past 4 months. It's been an extreme drawdown. But at the same time, the other day we had a 25% increase in the stock price in a single day. Our stock is more liquid.
Again, why did Bitcoin go down? He doesn't say why. He says, yeah, it went down, but he doesn't say, the question she's asking is, why is everybody pulling their money out of Bitcoin? Because Trump didn't make it a digital, he was supposed to make it a digital asset. He made silver a digital or a critical asset, but he didn't make Bitcoin a critical asset. So he's not answering the question, why did it go from 120 to 68? Because it's a Ponzi scheme.
On a market cap basis than any of the Mag 7 stocks by a factor of 2, 3, 4. The open interest is the greatest open interest of any of the major stocks
What's
in
he
the market.
talking about?
So that volatility creates interest, creates liquidity, creates the opportunity for us to issue the digital credit.
Michael, can you help us with one thing? There's some folks in the community the Bitcoin community that believe that there's a floor on Bitcoin at around $60,000 because that is the average price that is effectively or cost, I should say, for miners, and that as a result, the arbitrage will always be around that price. I don't know if you think that's true or not, or whether you think there's a possibility you could fall below that, in which case, what happens to those miners? Obviously, for Bitcoin to be successful in this sort of decentralized world, you need the miners to be mining. Otherwise, the whole thing doesn't work properly.
If you're focused on the price dynamics of Bitcoin, I think it's much more interesting to look at what the banks do, because as the large banks roll out credit against BTC, and you see a lot of enthusiasm from Citi, from Schwab, from JP Morgan, from BNY Mellon, et cetera. As they roll out credit, they're going to negate the miners' influence by a factor of 10. Also, the embrace of large Wall Street firms, the rollout of the next BlackRock Bitcoin income fund is going to have a big impact. And of course, the growth of digital credit that we're issuing. We sold $7 billion last year. We sold $400 million in a few weeks this year. So the issuance of credit on top of that network is going to be 10x the price impact of anything that the miners do or don't do. They're really a third order effect at this point in the future of the network.
Real quick, if you were to make a prediction about where Bitcoin is, call it 12 months from now, what do you think?
I don't really make predictions over 12 months. I think the Bitcoin is going to double to triple the performance of the S&P over the next 4 to 8 years. And I think that's the only thing we need to know.
Michael Saylor.
So he doesn't answer any of the questions. Why did it go down? You asked him for a forecast. He said it'll be better than the S&P. The S&P is about to crash. I don't get this credit. What are the banks issuing credit on Bitcoin? What is that? It's not real. What kind of, so if I go to the bank, I want a loan on a Bitcoin? Or I have 2 Bitcoins, so I want to take out a loan? I don't understand any of this. This is all Greek to me. Bitcoin isn't real. It's not money. I don't get all this bullshit. This is going to collapse like the housing crisis. So we saw the housing crisis 2008, and everybody's giving off real estate trusts, and our attack on Wall Street friend put 60 grand in it, and then it goes to zero because people aren't paying. What is this trigger here? What is he talking about with this capital asset, crypto capital asset? Let me read it, but what the fuck is he talking about? What's the price going to be? Why did the price go down? I don't know. What's the price going to be? Well, I don't make predictions. Is it going to be 10,000? Will it be that high? It's going down to zero. And then what happens when the dollar collapses? The key question, when the dollar collapses and it has no value, and Bitcoin is not backed by gold or silver, the value of Bitcoin goes to zero, right? Because Bitcoin itself is not even real, so it has no value. He dodged the inflation question and he dodged the gold silver question. And basically, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. So he's Ponzi scheme. This is Madoff. He's doing a Ponzi scheme. Well, I don't do predictions because I don't want to say it's going to 10,000. And the woman kept saying, how about if it hits 8,000? How about and the guy, and Ali said, well, it's capital and we got dividends. What kind of dividends do you have with Bitcoin? It doesn't give dividends. So I think he's doing his own little Ponzi scheme where he's lending out money for people who are broke, essentially who won't be able to pay him back. And then he gives out dividends. So I think he's doing something on his own where he's creating a stock and he's giving out dividends. It's the only thing I can think of. And it works until people find out it's a Ponzi scheme and pull their money out. So he's got all these people doing this Bitcoin stock. They're all going to go bankrupt. So again, this is the point I brought up earlier. The problem is the dollar collapsing. The solution is you buy gold and silver. But what is this guy selling? He's selling Bitcoin, which is not going to help you when the dollar collapses because it's not real. The only answer, the only lifeboat's gold and silver. But here's where he's talking you into Bitcoin and buy a Bitcoin stock and get dividends like it's a real stock. What's the product? There is no product. Let me see what a Bitcoin looks like. It's not real. It's a Ponzi scheme. What is this guy talking about? This guy's out of his mind. Anybody stupid enough to listen to this guy? Oh, the banks are issuing this, that, and the other. Well, the banks are all going broke. So yeah, good luck with that. The banks are all doing options on gold and silver, losing their ass. So what the fuck is he talking about? So that was Michael Saylor. I think the guy's on drugs. What is digital capital? And where's my other one? Anyway. Where did I put it? Here's one of our guys. Saylor says things that sound great, but are esoteric things that don't seem to really make sense. It's now digital capital and now digital credit. The asset is seasoning. It will always have worth because of its volatility. If it crashes, they'll just roll it forward. This is word salad. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. It makes zero sense. Digital capital. And they never question him on it. Where's my other comment? He is going to be selling at 40K. Notice he's not buying the dip. He has no money. It's all borrow. Just some comments. Where's my other comment? The one I showed you in the beginning. Oh, come on. Wish you could just say, give me my comments. Anyway, I'm not going to chase it. So the guy really sounds like he's on drugs as we were talking. Now, this guy keeps saying it's over. Russia takes Odessa and Kharkov, but when you go into it, it's not over yet. It's theoretically over militarily, but it's not over yet. Anyway, it's hard to get into these Epstein things and this, these AIs you got to be careful with. And with that, let's check our gold and silver. Let's see where we're at. Oh, all right. We got silver up to 84.07, making a nice little move, and gold up to 50.83, making this it kind of comes in and then it settles. So 84.18. Let's get back to 90. That's coming, and then 50.83. We got to get back to 5,500. And we got to 50.93. We did get to 51 for a minute at 8 o'clock. And then all of a sudden it drops from 51 to 50, it drops $50. Then it drops again at that. And then at 10 o'clock, it dropped from 50.80 to 50.50. And then jumps back up at noon. And then all these little ups and downs. It's just such bullshit. So 50.83 and 84.14. I will leave you with that. So just keep buying. See, that's the difference. Michael Saylor can't tell you any prediction because he doesn't know what he's talking about. How can you be invested in it and you don't know where it's going? Why did it go from 120 to 68,000? Don't know. I don't care. I'm in it for capital margin or whatever he called it. Digital capital, a new made-up word that means nothing. Giving dividends on what? Anybody stupid enough to buy this stock? Everybody should be into gold and silver, and this is what frustrates me. These comedians telling you to go into Bitcoin, right, are keeping you out of gold and silver. So they're making a little bit of money, but they're really not because they're making it in this. So all the money they make in paper are worthless. And this is the real key. Get into this and just get on the elevator and watch it go. And that's all you should be doing. And you can get in now. Silver will be $1,000 an ounce soon. It's very soon. It'll be 150, and then it'll be probably 250, and then 500. So probably by the end of the year, 500. Gold, we saw it at 5,500 and it got kicked back, and I just don't know how long they can keep kicking it back. Everybody wants the physical, and how long can COMEX even exist if it doesn't have any physical? They're still playing the game, but they're all trapped. They all need the price to come down, but BRICS is not going to allow the price to come down. So I don't really know what COMEX is or what it's doing or why anybody cares about it. I guess they're just trying to buy gold and silver cheap is what they're doing. Anyway, that's about it. So to review, problem solving. I showed you how I do my football, understanding the teams, going game by game, and I can pick 10, 15 games with not a problem, barely an inconvenience. We talked women again. I guess it's just general people. Somebody you want to spend time with, somebody you want to have lunch or dinner with, you want to watch the game with. Females offer males a big other things with sex and things. So again, you're looking at all that. You want to spend time, you want to spend dinner. So do you want to spend time? Do you respect each other? And are you kind of free? Daria told me things about her, and she says, I'm free with you, not with other people. So she knows I will not give her like she's scared to go to the dentist. I won't give her a hard time about that. I won't say, oh, you're scared to go to the dentist. I'll say, fine, I'll come with and I'll hold your hand and you go to the dentist. So there's stuff like that's very important. So can you trust the people or not that you're looking for? And you got to trust them. That's the key. Can you talk to them? Can you say anything to them and they can say anything to you? And that's the type of people you're looking to spend time with. Gold and silver, we know it's very limited. It can't be inflated, which this idiot doesn't talk about. The sailor guy doesn't understand that. Ray Dalio doesn't understand that. I was shocked, Ray Dalio. The guy asked him point blank, what 3 things would you say? Thing number 1, buy gold and silver. Thing number 2, buy gold and silver. Number 3, buy gold and silver. No, what did he say? Well, spend less than you make. What does that got to do with anything? The money won't be worth anything. Diversify your portfolio. No, you don't want to diversify. You want to be in gold and silver. I guess we're diversifying from gold to silver and baseball cards. And so he never talks about that. So everybody, Ray Dalio is good. And he talks about these 6 stages of whatever the fuck he's talking about. There's no stage. When the dollar's worth something, you print it to death, the dollar's worth nothing. It's not a stage. Now that the dollar's worth nothing, you get out of the dollar, the boat sinks, and you get into gold and silver. There's no stages there. It's recognizing the dollar's worthless, that they're printing it, and recognizing the only thing that won't go under, that is you can't inflate, is gold and silver. So I don't know what kind of stages this guy's talking about. I argue that he's just a hedge manager. So he's rich because he cheats people. So just like Madoff was rich. Yeah, and he didn't know anything either. He never made an investment. And then he said, I'm 100%. I never lose. Well, it's easy when you don't play, So I could see him playing blackjack. I never lose at blackjack. I never play, but I never lose. How about that? And so that's my football. That's gold and silver. That's women. And our last thing was poker. You have to problem solve each player, and you just got to see, what do they do? What's their tendencies? Now, the biggest tendency is, do they play or not? Most people, so you got to tell right there. If they're in the pot, most people have good cards. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, do you have a good hand that's going to call? I saw some guy have like pocket kings and he folded to something. And it's like, at the end of the day, you got to play your hand. The last hand of one of the World Series, a poker main event, last table, last hand, a guy has like a king 10 and the flop comes 2 kings, or there's 2 kings on board. So he's got a set of kings, and the guy makes a bet and he's worried that the other guy has ace king. Can you believe this? Dude, you got 3 kings with a 10. If he beats you, he beats you. How do you throw away trip kings? Are you out of your fucking mind? And then he does it and he wins, and you immediately go, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. What do you mean he wins? And I'm really struggling watching these World Series of Pokers after like 2010. You got idiots winning. You've got idiots playing. They don't know what they're doing. Guys sucking out. I got pocket 2s and I hit the third 2. I'm the champ. Aren't I great? No, you're an idiot. So you have a lot of bad players, and they're always different. And you just sit there scratching your head going, this is a waste of time. It's like a lottery. People getting very lucky, he got the king on the river, the 9 on the river, the diamond on the river. It's all luck. It's got nothing. And then he's the champ and he gets $10 million. They don't say, oh, by the way, you lose $5 million in taxes. So you really got $5 million. And then the way you play, you're going to lose the $5 million real quickly. I'm watching this Tournament of Champions now, and I'll show you. And Greg Raymer's in it, like the year after he won his thing. Let's see. Yeah, so right here, this one. This is 2004 Tournament of Champions. So you can see the lineup, and Greg Raymer's in it. I guarantee you he loses everything. Now, I don't know. I think it's a tournament. Johnny Chan's in it, and Helmuth and Negrano. Helmuth's really an idiot. He's terrible. I think what he tries to do when he yells at you is to tilt you. He's trying to intimidate you. And I think that's what his whole little game is when he's yelling at the people, you're an idiot and this and this. He's trying to intimidate you because he's not a very good player. So then you get scared of him, or I'm not going to call him or that. I would just say, fuck off. The power of the fuck off is well worth it. So if you're playing Phil Hellmuth and he starts calling you an idiot for playing 8-9 of diamonds or a pair of queens, just go, fuck off. I'm not going to listen. You're an idiot. Calls me an idiot. I would, he wants you to get mad at him, right? That's what he wants. And so I would just stay stoic, knowing it's Phil Hellmuth, and just totally ignoring him and see how he reacts when he doesn't get the response. He's looking for the response. Daniel Negreanu plays the same way, although he doesn't call you an idiot. He talks to you to try to get a response, to try to get your personality. You can't give that shit up. I wouldn't tell either of them. Or Mike Matusow. I guess he was in jail, Mike Matusow. Committed. He's a criminal now. Most of these guys are scammers, these poker players. I'm not, of course, but most of them are. Most of the gamblers are, just scammers. But anyway, if I were to play any of those guys, they better be careful because I'll clean them out. Because I'll stay stoic. They can say whatever they want. It's going to go in one ear and out the other, and I'm not going to react to them. I'm not going to react to Negrano or Helmuth or Matusow. Doyle Brunson, I would not react to him or any of these clowns. It's just poker. You're playing against a guy. Either he's got a hand or he doesn't. I don't care who they are. I'm not going to react to them. I don't know. Are you a good player? I don't know. I've never played with you. Are you good? You can bluff a little bit? Great. Everybody bluffs. So what? Good luck reading me because I'm going to give you so many fake tells. You won't know what the fuck I'm doing. Natural doctors are best. TK is Tucker's. I don't like Tucker. I'm echoing. What are you saying, bud? Clowns are scary. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you saying, bud? I don't. What are you talking about? Anyway, that's about it. I'm gonna go have some lunch. I'm gonna go swim. The pool was closed at 3 yesterday, so I had to leave early. Today, it's normal hours. Next week, Tuesday, it closes at 2, and then it's closed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I was livid. I bitched at them. I said, I want a refund. I'm here to use the lap pool, and you're closing it for 3 fucking days, all Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Why isn't it open like until noon on Friday and Saturday? Or, you got to give the people who are actually customers here time to use it. So it'd be like closing a restaurant because there's a birthday party and you can't use it. So what am I saying, bud? I don't know. I don't know what your comment is. You got to be clear on your comments. I talk about a lot, so I don't know what that comment means. All right. Well, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. You should now have the method of my madness in football, in gold, in women, and in poker. And again, if you have questions in poker, you really have no idea what the people have, so you don't want to help them. You don't want to talk. If you're going to look at the TV, you want it to be a fake tell that you have nothing, but you're going to look. And you're really not going to get in conversations with people. You're just there. I'm not telling you my cards, and that's it. So I'm not a Tucker Carlson. I think he's very strange. Michael Saylor, I don't like. And I don't like the other guy, Delio. I think he's an idiot. See, a lot of these people are clowns. Oh, but he runs a hedge fund, so he's a billionaire, so he must be smart. And he talks about these phases, which, look, you had gold, you got powerful, you got rid of your gold, you went to dollars, you printed too many dollars, it went to zero, and that's the end of it. It's not stages, it's you printed the money to zero. But he didn't even talk about inflation, nor did he talk about gold. So I don't know. That's why I don't really watch him. I just wanted to kind of hear what he said, but I'm not a Tucker fan either. I like that I heard Putin interview, but I don't know what he was saying. All right. Have a good day then. www.teaserking.com. Have a nice day, everybody. I'll talk to you tomorrow.